What an idiot. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's DH Thorne coming at you live with the ever illustrious and gorgeous Flush Priest, my partner in crime, the guy who often acts like he would never, but he's usually the one who does it first. What is up, everybody? It's good to see you. We started on time for the most part tonight, so I want to thank everybody for showing up on time.
Wait,
tonight.
then I would do what first? You know what?
Well,
no, it's better up here.
It's yeah, man, yeah. So I see you got the big old headphones on tonight. I see you got the big ear cups. Is that what you always have? I'm just that vapid, and or did I just do a Mandela effect?
It is actually. I always wear these. I get a little bit self-conscious sometimes because everybody else comes on with their little things, and I feel like I'm overcompensating. But no, fuck it. I enjoy
I'm not
the
criticizing.
bass.
I just feel like I just went into the warp zone again, and like someone just said, "No, the sky's always been red, dude. What are you talking about?" So I love opening up with that totally slam damming song. I love that one. I wrote that one. That's like one of my first songs I ever made on. I won't even say the program because someone's gonna think I'm endorsing it. But on my audio authoring program that I use.
It really is a banger. I don't know if it showed up on camera. Me fucking bopping along to it. Last time I was just.
You were bopping. I still have to send you the file so you can say that you fixed it and it's not gonna be any different. I'm just kidding. That was some dark triad complimentary.
Dude, you already know the audio engineer secret. Just don't touch anything, send it back. Oh, much better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like something we used to do back in the day when we'd like alter pictures, but no, you had to do stuff. But we did a lot less than people thought. Like people would send you a graphic and be like, "Oh, I need this so that I can use it," and you're like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." It'll be $45 for this. It's going to take me at least 2 or 3 hours to do this, and I think it's fair if I charge you per hour. My hourly rate for this kind of thing is $20, and then I get it, and then I go into my whatever program I'm using, and it's like, maybe 3 filters and a mask, and I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me 15 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, $35, thank you.
Well,
not gonna lie, that's how most graphic artists are for a lot of this stuff. So
hey, it's yes, Eddie, that's the producer knob. That's well, the thing.
This is the producer knob. What are you talking about? This is the producer knob, man.
The thing I feel like with that is you're paying for all the years that it took. I mean, that really is just 3 filters and everything, but you're paying for the time it took somebody to do it in 15 minutes, not for the 15 minutes it took.
That's exactly right. No, you're right. It's the 12 some odd plus years of experience and everything else that goes into doing all of these different things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And and of course, the more you charge, the more people want to pay you. I don't know how that happened, but it is how it works. Trust me, I'm not necessarily a rip-off artist, but I will absolutely admit that one of the first things you learn in sales is the price is actually a selling tool. And I don't mean going down. I mean, you start pretty high. You always ask big, and you always get more than you ever really needed. It's not even a joke. But I don't like doing that though, because then I go, wow, man, does that mean everybody's ripping me off whenever I buy something?
Let's not think about it too deep.
I try not to do it. I remember you and I were talking about like, what's a fair price for a product you made by hand? And I think you often told me I was low, and I'm like, really? I feel like I'm charging too much for stuff I made by hand. Like either it's fair or it's low. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm going to charge like a lot more than you would have for that same thing.
And that's the thing that kicks me in the ass, is because specifically it was with those Oni fucking war clubs. Yeah. I always forget the name of the actual weapon. I'm like, dude, I'm so bad with pricing my own shit, but when I look at that, it's like, it took you this long? Okay, yeah, no, you need to boost that price, my good sir.
Well, don't forget, I was also there's a learning curve going on, and when you're first making an item, until you work out the little tricks and the kinks the wood has, when you learn how to be a proper dom over the submissive wood that you're dealing with.
Oh, you're learning the secrets.
I'm learning the secrets. I have to be a wood dom. That's what it is. It's really kind of, I found out what kind of dom I am. I'm not the kind of dom that like wants you to like be like totally resistant. Although I do like brattiness. It's not about the brat. The brat is good. I do like the brat, but I like the begging brat. I like to feel like I'm withholding. Like that's what I like. I like the chase. I'm an Aries. What do you want? I got to climb a mountain to get to you. That's what I want. I want it to be a fun mountain though. I don't want it to be like one of those like, no, you can't have me ever. It's got to be like, I want you so bad, but you got to give me something to fight for.
You know what fucking weirds me out about the brat thing is because I like some brats in my life every now and then too. Is that imagine getting off on the fact that you're just really fucking annoying.
Yeah, right.
Or like wanting to be the person who it's like, oh, I'm gonna deal with this person that's so fucking annoying.
Eddie says it right. The brat is good, but the brat is see, the brat has to concede before the dom gets mad. But of course, the brat doesn't want to concede before that happens because their butter and bread is on the mad dom. So it's like, what are you gonna do? So, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'm not the abusive type of dom. I'm more like the I'm too good for this dom. I'm like the I don't know. Picture a lion just sitting there like, worship my penis. That is what
your
you must
mortal
do.
interests bore me, but I will
Yes.
entertain them.
That was yes. It's like you just peered inside my mind for a moment. It was quite amazing. We've been doing that a lot lately, especially since yesterday, and that's kind of relevant to tonight's conversation. I won't get into it yet till I know we've got the viewers up, but kind of relevant.
Yeah, I thought that you were actually softballing us into that one.
I really did not mean to.
Just
softball
happy
anything.
accidents.
It's just a bunch of little meaningful coincidences that just keep happening, and I'm usually behind them somehow. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys. Jay Sauber with the $4.99. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, dude. And horns up to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, the best brat tamers are brats themselves. Brat doms are real. Jay Ataraxia says, that's the thing. We should just spend one night just reading people's comments and just like reacting to them like goofballs instead of being all deep and mysterious and spooky and goth and whatever the hell you are. We should do that. So, but before we came on, you and I were talking about like here I am wearing sleeveless too, and you're like, oh, you're taking my thing. I'm like, yeah, I think you're doing more like the Riddick thing, and I'm doing more like the redneck thing. I don't mean to be doing the redneck thing, but I think you've got the more appropriate. I feel like when I'm wearing that, I feel like I'm wearing a bra. Like it don't feel right to me. Is it just me?
No, I get it because like I feel that way too. Like the other day, I was laying on the couch with my guy friend, and I was like petting his head. I'm like, what is this weird sensation? I realized my tank had just slipped over, and I was also inadvertently just stroking my nipple. Like, oh, god damn it.
See, that's
a fucking brawl.
That's
sometimes.
how we get our YouTube channel yanked, is when we get too no, I'm kidding. That was fun. A sex episode. Eddie wants a sex episode.
Oh,
so
magic.
Let's read off who's in the chat tonight. We haven't done that in a while. Let's see who's here. Wyatt Culverdale was actually here first. You were not, Yepson.
I know, but I was hoping nobody would catch that.
I'm sorry, I ruined your whole thing. The Hermit was and is here. Eddie Romanov is here, the illustrious vampire from PA. Nina the Mystic is one of our good friends. And Nina, I keep meaning to get back to you about redoing that video. The day that you suggested probably won't work for me, but I am going to do it with you. I promise we will do it again. I just got to find a day that works for me because I'm working extra right now. So soon we shall do it again. I want to redo that. I think... especially since I got that call in the middle of the interview, it kind of got verschnickered. LS says, anyone else getting woke up and feeling like they are being watched when they take a night piss? Well, we're going to talk about that, LS. That's probably going to be a piece of the conversation.
I also want to talk about the fucking picture you used for the thumbnail because
I love that name.
Also in here we have AKA Morningstar, Arachnos, CM Helnikian, who just posted a really funny video relevant to this stream, so go check that out on his channel or in the Discord. Boop. There's a plug.
Put it in the Discord. I hope they're doing stuff in the Discord. If they're not, they should be.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a friend or a follower of mine and you are in the Discord and you've got a channel, please avail yourself of the Shameless Plugs channel. And please check it out if you're a friend of mine, because people put cool stuff in there, not just me. And we call it Shameless Plugs because, I mean, honestly, that's what we're doing. We're shamelessly plugging our own stuff. Mm-hmm. And I believe in reciprocating. Like, if I have my own kingdom, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to sell their own kingdom too. I want to make sure you guys have your own love. Speaking of love, Roxy Love is here. She says hello. and which is pretty cool. We have Eric O'Shea, and they said, yes, I made it. Drago Orion says, hey there, DH, glad to finally catch a live. Been a long time. I think so. I don't recognize your name, but I do. Like somewhere in the recesses of the right-hand side of my brain where memory is stored but forgotten, I feel like that name means something to me. Welcome back. If it's been a while, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Perfect day with a perfect ending, Eric O'Shea says. Gingini says, good eve, everyone. And here we go again with Jeffrey. Is it Jeffrey524? Is it Jeff524? Is it Geoffer524? But they're here. We like them. They are always nice to us. William Watkins is here. William Watkins Jr., no less. Faustian, interesting comment today on my short video. Interesting comment there. Let's see. I think I'm running out of people's comments here. I think I'm reaching
Well,
the
to
end.
get to the participants tab on here, we also have Dark Lord Sparta, Dre, forgive me if I fuck this up, Dre Atraxia, Eric O'Shea, I think you already did them, Faustian, IXI9IXI, J Sauber,
That's
Language.
10910 or 10910.
I think that I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
I think it. I don't know either. I'm just fucking.
Lady Witch, Patchwork, the Great and Powerful, Shamael, Shh, I'm busy, and the Angry Finger.
Yes. So welcome everybody. We are going to move around the topics tonight slowly, methodically, like death itself, reaching an end and a climax in which all doms and all subs all whimper mercifully and mercilessly. Or whimper for mercy, excuse me. Nina says sub me for notifications. I'm not sure if she meant that.
That's coming off a bad segue right there.
But Nina, absolutely give Nina some love. She is beloved of the DH Thorne channel. She's also a regular with a guy I would actually, Lena, hook me up with R. Wayne Steiger. I would love to have a conversation. That motherfucker, and I mean that with respect. I don't know how he feels about cursing. He might think I'm a little too irreverent. I don't know. That guy is educated. That guy knows his stuff, and I've learned stuff from him. His research is impeccable. I'm not saying it's all 100% accurate, but man, that guy works his butt off to be right. And I love his channel, Wayne R. Steiger, R. Wayne Steiger. I don't know, something like that. But Nina will put it in the thing. Please give him a little bit of love. You know, I'd like to do a show one time where I just talk about other channels that I love to watch myself, which are not many, to be brutally honest. But I do enjoy some channels. Like I like, what's his name? Eric Leroy. Obviously, E.A. Quetting. Jazz Garrett from time to time. I don't watch him as much because he's often doing live streams. That's usually his videos. Like he does live streams when I just can't watch them. But I want to get, we need to get JS back on actually.
Oh, he was so much fun to hang with.
He was. And I meant to have another conversation with him, but our schedules just never work. It's like he's either doing rituals or I'm working or maybe I'm ready and he's ready, but then something comes up or like a video game gets released.
That one was funny too, because that was the first one where I'm like, nah, fuck DH. I'm doing this without him. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to put this together on my own. And then he got on and the whole time I'm just like, oh, I hope they play nicely together. I hope they play. And then the guns came out. It's just like, oh, they just became best friends.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, from what you can tell about a person, I like him a lot. And there's a lot of cool characters. You know, Travis Magus, he's usually streaming the same time I am. And I've tried to reach out to him to get him on my show, but I think he's like me. He likes to do his own thing. But I'd like to get him on sometime too. Travis Magus is freaking amazing. Sticks on my show. Oh man. Fun. I think it would be a crazy conversation because he and I would probably, how do I put this? We are too alike in some ways, and I think that we would have spirited disagreements about certain fundamental things, but end up loving every minute of it. And so long as it's done respectfully, because Sticks is like one of my spirit animals. Like he's definitely, like if I don't have one, he definitely is he's hanging out with like we're all drinking tea together on the same mushroom, right? That's like how I picture us in a spiritual place. Like, I don't know if I would be the caterpillar with the fucking hookah and he'd be like another dude, whatever. I have this thing. Someone tell Sticks that I said, what's up? And I have loved him since he had 40,000 subs. and he became a dom of over almost what, 1 million now, or more than 1 million. So he's a gentleman and a scholar, and his attitude is so beautifully irreverent and Luciferian. I love the man. So if you got a lead on him, tell him I said what's up.
And we have a super
Sticks
chat
would be
here
fun.
from Star Ruby Corsi, says, I love you guys. No, we
Oh,
love
we
you.
love you too, Star Ruby. Thank you. I'd also like to get the Rageaholic. That would be a fucking wild ass time. I would totally like. I feel like the three of us kind of represent like the same fashion style but different. Like we all kind of have like a similar kind of, Rage definitely dresses cooler than all three of us put
Ah.
together.
No,
But
I don't know. I wouldn't say cooler. I'd just say he's like hard in that 80s metal look. Not that that's
true.
bad or good.
Well, true. I think for me, if it's like I used to wear sunglasses like he does, I would wear them in the dark because I really used to be able to see better in the dark before I fucked my eyes up by wearing contacts too much. But
Okay, Riddick.
no, I really
Keep
did.
the light on my back,
I got a
not
picture
on my
somewhere.
face.
Looks clear. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Faustian. Yeah, I think he is a little bit more of a materialist. He wouldn't like hearing that, but I think he's more of a materialist than he likes to admit when it comes to magic. When I say that, I think he does not agree with non-dualism as far as I can understand, but he is definitely, absolutely would like. I'm not afraid to say that I am totally uneducated on the occult. And that's kind of weird coming from a guy who has his own show and sells books on these things. I am not a master of the occult literature. I'm not a bookworm. I don't memorize these things. I don't reprint them for people. And he has done a magnificent job of doing that over the years. And he's read them all. So all I would be able to do is just be like, look, I don't know your full, your full gnosis that you've gotten from all of these books. And quite frankly, I don't use them. This is why sometimes I hesitate to call myself an occultist, because I don't do occultism in the classical sense of occultism. When I say occultism, I mean the hidden truth. I mean the hidden mysteries that are, to me, things that, I mean, if I say I found them, that sounds horribly arrogant, but since when have I ever been ashamed of that? But to find any kind of truth in the hidden realm, that's what I mean by occult. And so when I say I'm an occultist, I don't mean that I just study, banned books or something. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, he's an Epicurean. Good point. But I love the man. He's another one I would love, and he is an enlightened soul when it comes to disagreement, and he's just vivid, and I love him. So, but yeah, very cool, very cool. So Nina is out there shooting out my links. If you guys want to support my channel, let's get a buy or crap segment out of the way early tonight. If you want to support my channel, the best way you can do that right now is to either buy books from me, which my book sales have gone down because Amazon's algorithm has said, hey, Thorne, you haven't released a book in over a year. We're no longer going to promote your stuff on the front page like we used to. Release another book and we'll see. So I have to be a little bit more grubby about it. If you guys aren't aware, I've written 3 books. They're all very good, I think. And I'm actually doing a rerun, if you will, a rewrite of Become the Maelstrom kind of as we speak. I'm working on it all the time. So if you have that, sort of, what would you call it if it's like a sequel but not? Like, what if it's the same book but you've added like 10 new chapters and rewritten 3 of them? And what would you call that? Like a rewrite? Edition? I don't know. Maybe
the 1.5.
Maybe it would be a special edition. Yeah, it would be like second 2.5 of D&D. Don't forget, I did write Become the Maelstrom in the perspective of I'm writing the core source book for my magic system, and all the other books are meant to follow after that. So yeah, it could be. Geoff524 says, fantastic live chat. Love you guys. Yes, love you. Absolutely. Yes, we love you. We love you. We love you. Samantha S, what's up? She says it's a compendium. Yeah, Sam says it's a compendium. Sam's awesome. Sam has been a good. I notice Sam all the time in my Facebook. She's always showing up and making cool comments. We love Sam. Sam's cool. And Patchwork, of course. How could we not love Patchwork?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I guess second edition's fair. It's just, I feel like it's such an overhaul second edition is maybe, I guess it's accurate, but it doesn't feel right. I feel like if you call something second edition, people are like, oh, I already got the first edition. Like, what's the big deal? It's like, to put it one way, the original book is 151,000 words, which I compared, and it's only 30,000 less than Dune, my Bible of sci-fi. But when I'm done with the rewrite, it might be closer to 200,000 words. And I'm probably going to be reformatting it to fit in the same 9x6 book size that my other books are in. I don't know, what do you think, Fleshy? Do you think I should keep this 11 by whatever size big old manual style book, or should I go with these dimensions instead and just make it like 4 times thicker? What do you think?
I like the original.
Do you?
Yeah, I like the original size. It fits nicely. I think the other
Mm-hmm.
ones, their dimensions work for, books that aren't as thick. But if it's going to have a lot of pages, I want it to have a little bit of heft to it. Partially because I don't want to have to turn pages as often.
True. Okay, that's a good point. Well, I mean, there is that, but it's also readability, because one of the complaints I got, and I think I ended up seeing it as a valid complaint because my eyes are total garbage. You know what? I got a burnt out candle here. I'm gonna try to figure that out.
Yeah,
while I'm
I
talking.
suppose the font could be bigger or something to that because it was kind of funny.
But
The information was so dense in that, like between the font and the pure density of things, it was like I'd sit down and it's like, okay, we've covered a lot. That's been 2 pages. Jesus Christ. Okay, I need to put this down for right now and absorb.
there is that, and it's size 10 font, and all my other books have been in size 14, which is, my shoes are size 12, so I guess that tells you what you need to know. But yeah, so I put all my new books in size 12, which is, excuse me, size 14. Stop it. Stop thinking about your penis, Dan. In size 14, and I actually had one person put a negative comment like, oh, they're just padding the length of the book by putting it at size 14. I'm like, do you know how many people complain that they couldn't read size 10? It's like because their eyes aren't good enough. And I'm just like, man, no matter what you do, you're going to piss somebody off. Somebody's going to be like, I don't like it that way. Like, whatever.
Yep.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me
Hey,
to
you
say?
can't please everybody. You are not responsible for how people react to you shining the truth of your light out into the shadows. All you're responsible for is shining that light. So fucking shine on, you crazy diamond, something, something,
True.
something.
Totally true. But I am, if I say I'm a people pleaser, I don't mean that like I'm a doormat people pleaser, but I do like to know that people are, whoa, look at that fire. House is on fire. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's gone. I love the look on your face. You're like, oh shit, it's really happening.
We've always talked about it. This is the moment. Everybody.
You know what? Hold on.
This is the one.
Everyone's gonna be laughing their ass off. It's fine. It's fine.
This is the one that's those seconds from disaster fucking compilations. This is the one they're gonna clip. So for everybody in chat, if any of you have read the oh my god, I just lost the name. Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings novels. There's a whole thing with the women of Rockshire. It's been a little bit about how they always have to wear a glove on one hand. That is the custom of the culture, to the point where when some men see a woman without her glove, it is scandalous. And oh man, right now, DH, I feel like you're naked. Where the fuck is the glove?
Yeah, check out all my man parts that are hidden. I'm wearing a glove. I have my wrist brace on.
I can barely hear you, but
oh, that's true. You can't.
you sound very distant.
I'm really right here. How's the song? Oh god, that's pinching my nipple part. Ooh, that's awesome. All right. I almost let my hair on fire. Jeez, what's wrong with me tonight? I'm like accident prone. Like I'm totally protected. You guys can tell because the candle just fell and nothing happened. So I'm totally protected if somebody's trying to curse me, but it's pretty amusing that like everything that can go wrong. It's like somebody's taking. It's like there's a magical assassin taking shots at me right now, and it's just like, what the fuck was that?
You've
It's
got
just a bad shot.
You've got that fucking chaos synchronicity of just like that's what it is. Somebody just shot an invisible bullet your way. It's just like your own protection magic is just like, I'm gonna make this candle fall so that he has to bend down right at this moment. It's the fucking dragon from the secret world, dude. They're just like, and if we just make sure to
Right?
give him a bent candle, put a bent candle in here, and it will save a man's life.
Or I am the dragon where they're taking shots that are perfectly timed and executed, and I'm just like, totally saving it, just feigning. Oh my God, just feigning total. Oh no, I'm like Neo from the Matrix. Thank you, Cult of the Sun. I wish I was, because then I would be fucking what's his name, and he's cooler than
Oh,
everybody who's ever
Keanu.
lived on this planet.
Oh yeah. Oh
He's
my
played
God.
everybody. He played the Buddha. He played everybody. Like he's
It's
like
fucking
what
John
is it
Wick.
if cancel culture ever comes for him? He's just gonna cancel culture. It's just gonna be over. It's just gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that man
So.
can practically do no wrong.
I mean, I would like to see him do wrong just to see people try. Like I just want like it should just be just a meme that just says "try me" under it. Like just try to get him for something. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, more like Clouseau. Thank you, Angry Free. That's who I was thinking of. More like Clouseau. Like pretty much, like yeah, like I bumble my way into winning. Like, so have you ever watched the Inspector Clouseau movies, Fleshy? Do I have to add that to
I
the watch it with your buddy Thorne list?
it sounds really, really familiar, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
It's the Pink Panther movies.
Oh, okay.
Dun,
Oh,
dun,
that's
dun,
no, I
dun,
never
dun.
saw it. I saw that,
Okay,
yeah, remake or whatever, like in the early
that horrible remake that I
2010s.
watched 10 minutes of and said no. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't great.
And he's talking about drunken master type of characters in his games, and I'm like, yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah. So, well, that's kind of what it's like to be like a decent magician because you kind of like you just even when you fail upwards. it's,
Yeah.
it's like oh well.
I really
Yeah.
think, with magic, that is the drunken master analogy is kind of you really got to straddle that fine edge between just madness and chaos and like, oh, I planned all of this. Of course, you got to give yourself the opportunity for crazy new shit to happen.
True, absolutely. People are saying one person says they like the number 14 font that's Dragon Orion, and the original size. Smaller books too often reduce the font to keep page count down. Then I put off reading it. I will take that advice in stride. I'm sort of all over the place because I absolutely could see myself redoing that bigger format, at least the book size. My only problem with that is that when formatting that for Kindle, it threw me a lot of errors. I had to like re-edit that for Kindle so many times so that it wouldn't throw errors at me. And so I'm kind of, plus I like my page backgrounds with those funky veiny things on the
Mm.
edges. I really like the way those look. So I don't know. We'll see. I was looking at other people's books. Like I have, I don't think he's here tonight. We haven't seen him in a little while, Max Avery. But
No, I don't see him chat that often, but he does hit me up. Max is actually a big supporter of the show. He's always like behind the scenes, filling me in like, hey, here's an app I found. You guys should start
mhm.
incorporating it for the channel.
I want to get him back on again. Put him on the to-do list again too, because he's a good friend of ours and he's done a
Oh
lot.
yeah,
And I want to just plug
dude,
his
that.
book for 1 second, but he
Oh
does a
yeah,
six by
yeah.
nine, and it's perfect. Like it's like a perfect. I like that size, so I don't know.
That I swear to God, that dude is a fucking cryptid, and I mean that in the best way.
Hmm.
I love me
Hmm.
some cryptids because just talking with him behind the scenes, he does so many different things where I was trying to get him on my show, on my channel, to talk about when he used to DJ and shit. And there was a schedule conflict. I'm not gonna talk about his business or anything or what he had going on because I don't know if he wants that to be known. But it was just like, how what kind of life do you live? Like, how is all of this shit going on with you? Like, how do you have your finger in so many different pies?
He does. He's a successful businessman, man. That's
Oh
all I can
yeah.
say. I mean, just talking to him, I mean, he's done business with Elon Musk and stuff. The guy knows people, and if I was a grubber, I'd probably be chasing him around and being like, "Hey, could you hook me up with this and that?" And I don't want that. And then, oh my God, why can't I remember the guy's name? He's so cool when he comes on. He's got the Overlord DVD voice. Why can't I remember his name? I'm no good with names, brother. So if you're
I
here, don't be offended that I'm not remembering you.
it start
He's been on a few times.
hold on. It start evade Give me 1 second. It will. Victorious.
Yes, Victorious is awesome too. If he's
Oh
watching
fuck
tonight,
yeah.
please chime in. We'd love to get him back on another conversation too. He's a cool guy. He's an author for. Come on, I'm better than this. I'm so much
Fog.
better. Become a Living God. He's done some work for them too. So he's another good one. I'd like to get him back on. But yeah, Max, I think I want to do a show. I want to do like a free for all, like a party night. I want to have like a big party vibe one night where we have like 10 of the coolest people we've ever had on, and just have them all on the same night, and just have just this, like, we'll do shot for shot and everything else. We'll just have like a party night and just hang out virtually one night and just have like a virtual hangout with like 10 different occultists. And it's going to be like a 4 hour free for all, and like just bullshitting and talking about like whatever. I think, you know what? I'm going to message Eric tonight maybe about that and be like, hey, sometime next month, you guys want to do that? Like we'll do like a midsummer stream or something like that. We'll do like midsummer
Stream.
Eve. Yeah, midsummer. Dude, what night is midsummer this year? Look it up right now.
Okay,
Somebody
I'm
tell
on
me
it.
what is it? Okay, you'll look it up for me. I'll wait. So what do you guys think? Should we do a midsummer night stream? Would that be fucking badass? Like, and just try to get as many awesome people. We'll get JS, see if we can get EA Quetting, see if we can get Max, see if we can get El the Alchemist, freaking everybody, all the big players on, whoever we
Oh
can
fuck
get.
yeah. June 24th.
Fuck yeah. All right. So June 24th, what day of the month is that? Like, what day of the week is
That
that?
oh, that's on a Thursday, dude. That's the last Thursday of June. It
Is that not perfect?
it's
Is that
all
not
fucking
perfect?
coming together.
Are you not entertained? Like, come on now. Where's my mask? Like, where is it? Yeah, I like that. I
We are
like
the
that.
voice of the people.
Midsummer night stream on Thorne Hub. Join us. Fuck it. If I put this thing together now, like,
Mm.
even if I just get 3 people, I'll be happy. Even if I get 3 out of those 10 I'm talking about, that would be so wicked badass to have a big stream. Pencil it in. Remind me at the end of this show. Everybody, I want you all put in a $1. No, I'm kidding. I was gonna say a $1 super chat, and I will remember. I'm kidding.
You know,
But
you know what I want to do too is because my birthday actually falls on the last Thursday of May this year. So perfectly in time, and because I kind of represent the voice of the people here, reading out chat and whatnot, I think that should just be a community night where we focus all about whatever the fuck people want us to talk about.
do
Nothing
you
planned.
want to do a birthday stream for yourself? And is that what you wanted? Because I'm down with that if you want to do that.
Well, yeah, we'll just talk about like if it's my birthday, then I will do. I'm the voice of the people here, so we'll make it all about the people. It'll be the community night.
Like, maybe I don't know. Like, maybe I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know. I'll let you talk about what you want it to be like, and then I will try to make it happen to
That
the best of my
that's what
my self-centered ability, of course. But I'll do
that's
my
what it's
best.
gonna be. It's gonna be
My
for the
primary
people.
narcissistic ass will try to do everything that I possibly can to make it happen for you. All right, so let's get on to the subject a little bit. We got 51 people here, so I think that's about as much as we're going to get for tonight. So let's hit the main topic of contention for tonight. Now, I have to tell you guys, the title of this stream is maybe a little bit misleading. Right? It's maybe just a little tiny bit. What's the word I'm looking for? Sort of a clickbaity headline, because I'm probably not going to be talking about the Watcher most of you are thinking of, because I think that they're one and the same, but I think the one you're thinking of is a literary device to trick you into learning something. And I could be wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe that's not what they meant, but that's how I'm understanding it. So let's talk about the Watcher, not the Watchers like from the Book of Enoch, although one could argue that they're the same concept. Let's talk about the Watcher. The Watcher. Like, if you look in the book of the Necronomicon, it talks about conjuring and calling upon your Watcher. And let's talk about what that is. Let's really talk about it. I don't care what the Necronomicon says. Let's talk about what I think it really means. And let's sort of cut to the chase and say, when we're talking about the Watcher, we could also be talking about the Holy Guardian Angel. We could be talking about the higher self. We could be talking about a lot of things, but what exactly does that mean? What does it mean? Now, if you're coming from a theistic, superstitious place, this watcher is some externalized entity, or it is you in a higher dimension, or it's some kind of psychobabble that is of that direction. And you're probably got like a whole bunch of understanding of that, but do you really know what it means still? What do you guys think? What are we talking about? When we're talking about the watcher, give me your short answer in the comments. I'm not even going to tell you what I think yet.
Yeah,
Tell me what you guys think.
I even had to clarify last night with you, like, hey, let me get a little bit of a rundown. What are we talking about here? Um, oh, Eddie. Eddie just messaged me
What'd he say?
in private. He's like, for your birthday stream, and he linked a song that was used in The Crow with Brandon Lee called After the Flesh.
Okay.
That's gonna happen.
Right. I love The Crow. I think I know that song. If I could get away with playing popular music other than my own or that's free, I would probably, that would be dope. Who would want to do or watch a fucking DJ special where you and I just do music like somehow? Where could we do that without getting hit with all kinds of freaking
Discord.
content strikes? It would have to be on Discord, yeah. I'd want to record it and like put it up though. Like, I know people do that. Like, there's people that get paid to do, like, they'll do live DJ shows. Like, what's the difference? Is it because you're performing with it? Like, how does that work? Like, how do they get it?
I don't know.
Like, when
fuck it, we'll do it on my channel. I don't care if I get a strike. Fuck it.
he's like, fuck it all. Fuck. I don't know. Can you stream on your channel? Yeah, you can. Yeah,
I
you
can.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, I can always stream
them
on one of my alt channels. I have I have. I know I'm an idiot. I'm really an idiot. I'm just a fool. Yeah.
You're forgetful.
All right, let's see. What is people saying about the Watcher yet? Is anybody saying anything intelligent yet?
Ooh.
So Patchwork says, so we're, oh, he meant to say we're. So we're not talking about the Necronomicon Watcher? And he says, oh, so we are? If I said yes, I might be lying. If I was saying no, I'd be lying.
But also
yeah,
yes.
I could. Can I be saying yes and no? Maybe, I don't know. Let's keep going. Yeah, Dark Lord Sparta says, I don't know much about the Watcher, and that's why I'm here. Ha. Eddie Romanov says, the Watcher is the last shadow boss you have to face before you meet your ascended self. That's Karanzan, or Legion, or Ronzael. It's all of them. Like, what are you talking about? That's not the Watcher. I mean, it is, but let's see. Shh, I'm busy. They say, Watcher to me, the beings, aka shadow people, after the flesh, good one my life with the thrill kill call. Yes, good song. Eddie Romanov says fair use allows you to play it so long as you're reviewing it, hence reaction videos. Good call. Fleshy, let's look into that. I mean, we'll do it on an alt channel just to be safe, but I'm good with that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be reacting.
LS says, not familiar with how Watchers work, but from personal experience, I feel like I'm about to be jump scared. You might be. Upon Earth says, it's a state of trance where you see yourself from both third person and as an individual. Can't remember the actual terms, so I'm going to go with this. Jay Thomas. I think Jay Thomas knows me. Jay Thomas might know where I'm going to go. He says, the observer. Interesting. Now I think we're getting somewhere. Anybody else? Let's give people a few more minutes to put their opinion in.
Step right up.
I fucking love macaws. Is that a macaw? It's a blue macaw, right?
I think so, yeah. This is whatever Google images threw my way.
I fucking love macaws. I want, like, when I'm a kabillionaire or whatever it is that requires that I get enough money to do, I want, among other things, I want a dachshund plantation. That's my wife's request, but I agree with it. Really a dog plantation. All kinds of dogs, but dachshunds in particular. Of course, they all get back problems, so it's like, fuck. This always breaks my heart. I want, like, a macaw farm. Like, I want all of this shit. Like, I just want all of these little birdies. And he says, the Watcher on the Threshold. It sounds like Belphegor.
You know what? That sounds like what people think black magicians are all about. What black magicians are actually about. Just dachshund farm. Right?
Oh, Karn, the eye behind the eye. Yeah, good one. Must be a watcher of mine. Yeah. I think I have that somewhere, but I put all my jewelry in boxes and now I don't look them up. Like I don't take them out because they're all in boxes now. It's like I don't even think about it. Yeah. All right. Looks like most people have said what they're gonna say about it. So there are, of course, I have a saying: if you ask 10 occultists, you get 12 answers to most occult questions, and for very good reason, because there's a lot of personal gnosis going on, and to say that it's wrong is a misunderstanding of how gnosis works. So we're not doing that, and it's not really that way. So nobody's wrong here. If you guys want to say it's an angel, if you guys want to say that it's like your demon or something like that, that's your view. And I'm not saying that there is no such thing as objective truth. I'm simply saying that objective truth is always known by the subjective eye. And that is perhaps the best understanding of the watcher. But let's really untangle this a little bit. So, of course, in different systems of spirituality, there are different ways of talking about the watcher. And it's probably meant on some level quite literally. That is to say, it's a spiritual being that is separate from you, that you conjure, that you work with. It's like your fetch, right? Or your familiar. Fair. That's a very fair position to take. However, I am of the mind that ultimately what's really going on is mankind discovered something thousands of years ago. And in the West, that something had to be occulted because the Christian insanity, and that's not to say Christians are evil per se. I welcome good-natured Christians. I criticize Christianity, right? I question and criticize the religion and the dogma, but I don't care what you believe. I think you're justified in believing, because there's a lot of people who interpret the Bible differently, right? There's a lot of Christian mystics who see Jesus differently than the Bible does. Like there's a lot of non-dualistic people who see Jesus as a kind of guru that was misinterpreted in the Christian Bible to be something he's not. And that's, I don't think, accurate, but right on. Good for you for going there. So we're not going to be those people. We're not going to be like, fuck you. You need to go. You need to die. Angry Finger says, I'm not saying you are wrong. Reality is, what is reality, Angry Finger? What? That is going in the Gnosis channel. That really is. So humanity discovered something, rediscovered something possibly, or discovered it. It really depends. And it was something that was shared from east to west. See, a lot of people have this misunderstanding that certain ideas originated in the East, perhaps. Even things like martial arts. People think martial arts originated in the Orient, which is absurd because everybody was trying to train and learn how to fight since people first beat, wood into long shapes and hit each other with it. I mean, there was a caveman going, ugh, swing this way. I'm telling you, it wasn't just that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the East at all. That's not what I mean to do. But a lot of people think that the idea of non-dualism is strictly an Eastern idea. Non-dualism goes back really far. And there's a lot of different ways of expressing it. One could argue that the original pantheistic view, that is, there's monotheistic, but pantheistic, monotheistic view, for example, the Christian one. When I say Christian, I mean the Abrahamic one. If you ask a real rabbi, a mystical rabbi, they are going to tell you that you're God, just not in the egoistic way. They're not going to say you personally are God. They're going to want you to feel a sense of humility, but they're going to be among the first people to tell you that you and God are one. That you're an idea in God's mind, and you're loved, and all of this. You're not some separate thing, right? But they're theistic about it, and I'm not theistic. But that's a kind of non-dual, kind of. It's only a hop, skip, and a jump from that theistic, pantheistic, all is God, to God and me. There's no distinction, so therefore God doesn't matter. There is not two, there is no duality, there's only one. I am that one. That one is many because it expresses in an infinite, diverse way. Holy fuck, and you ascend. Okay. It's only a hop, skip, and a jump. The trick is, one is very humiliating by necessity because it wants you to see yourself as inferior. The other is enlightening. And there was, if you go back a ways, a period of time when the Greeks and the people of the Orient, the East, India, the two at the time, I could be wrong, maybe Eddie knows better, Eddie's big on history. These were the real centers of intellectual spirituality and reason and things for their era. We're talking like 1000 BC, okay? Somewhere around there. Up into the early Dark Age, the early 300s, 400s, something like that. There's a point where it just kind of collapses and there's still, the remnant is still going on. And you have a period where the Greeks and the Indians were sharing their philosophies through their trades and everything. And if you look it up, there's a lot of words that they share. Chakra is kakra, which is a Greek word. Okay. Even martial arts, some people would say that the Spartans actually brought the early incarnations of martial arts to the Orient. I don't know if that's true. There's a lot of, what would you call it? I wouldn't call it racist, but certainly like cultural pride going on here, so it's kind of hard to say. But I think anthropologically speaking, it's at least safe to say that they shared a lot of the same wisdoms with each other. And if we go back far enough, we get into that Proto-Indo-European thing, which we're not going to talk about so much today. So there was a point in time when the most learned mystics of the world were all talking about what we now call Advaita or Advaita Vedanta, or Neoplatonism and Platonism, and some of these other things that go hand in hand with these different things. And this is important. This is important to me because what I think that they discovered was the truth. Now, what does this have to do with Watchers? What does this have to do with Watchers? In these different cultures, everybody's got a different way of describing the same things. There's a little variation, of course. There's definitely cultural differences in how you see things. Someone who lives in a culture that's never seen an elephant might not understand what you're talking about when you're talking about an elephant, but they've got their own big animals that are used instead of an elephant. So they've got this instead, like this is their idea, a dragon or something, right? They've got their, so, and vice versa. So you have these different ways of talking about the same things. There's the parable of there's always a different number, but I've heard it as the 3 blind men and the elephant. And one blind man is holding the trunk of the elephant, another one's holding the leg, and another one's holding the tail. And they're all saying what they're feeling and describing it, saying the guy holding the trunk is like, oh, it's a big snake. And the guy holding the leg's like, no, you're wrong, it's a big tree. And the guy holding the tail is like, oh, it's a lion. And they're all describing the truth. None of them are lying. And from their position, they're not wrong. I mean, they're guessing based on the information they have, but they're not wrong. They're all describing the same truth. So, and here I'm reading I'm reading the chat, getting distracted. So, what I think happens is a lot of cultures describe the same things, and they come to a certain conclusion, and they're right, and they describe them differently. Here's where it gets fucked up. I think that everybody in the really rational, civilized world at the time were kind of dialing into a similar non-dual perspective on the mysteries. And that was well and good, but then Christianity happened. And Christianity burned through our culture like a mental virus, because it was a perfected system of spiritual dogmatic control. And in order for it to do what it did, it had to destroy any competition in philosophy. And so in the countries and cultures that were safe from Christian invasion and hegemony, they were allowed to keep talking about it the same as they always were. You didn't get beheaded or burnt at the stake or put to the rack, tortured and made to confess in India. Although I'm not saying that kind of stuff never happened, but to my understanding of that culture, it's always been more spiritually open. I'm not saying people never killed each other over religion, by the way. It's just it was never, from my understanding, anything like it was in Europe. Like if you go to India today and you start worshiping a tree as a god, nobody's going to make fun of. Well, they might make fun of you, but they're not going to see you as really crazy. They're going to be like, "Yeah, you just figured out that tree was God." They're not going to have a problem with your belief. Really, not much. Not the way we do in the West, anyway. I'm not saying that they're better. It's just it's different. It's more open to your personal experience. But in the West, we had to occult everything. We had to occult everything because the Christians would burn you to death if anything you said remotely conflicted with their dogma that threatened the hegemony of the church and thereby the state. Because the church and the state were one.
I've actually even read that very early on there was no, because Christian theology was canonified much later down the line, where there's books which were once accepted as canon, which now are not, and just let's argue over what's canon and what's not. They were doing the fucking sci-fi nerd thing before it was cool over something so much more boring.
I would say early Christianity was cool as fuck. I think it was cool as fuck. Like if I wouldn't hate, I could see why people would jump onto it, because it was actually, at the time, it was a rebellious religion. It was different, and it was open to interpretations, and there was all these weird books going around that some were probably, whatever. In fact, I'm going to argue that I actually hold mostly to the Caesar's Messiah theory, that Jesus was probably a real person or real-ish, probably a conglomeration of several different prophets that were wandering around, and the stories kind of got used, but Caesar basically wanted the Jews to worship them as the Son of God, and so they created this story so that they could work themselves into it, and it failed miserably, and ended up backfiring really badly for them. But look up Caesar's Messiah.
So it's a great documentary.
Oh, absolutely. Dune, once again, Dune got it. It's kind of like, what's that meme? The Simpsons did it already.
Yes,
it's kind of like that. Dune already basically points. Dune, I think Herbert. He was either what is he like a Vatican? He must be like a Vatican spook who knows everything, and he's just revealing it through the mysteries of his book. No, I mean, for real. The Orange Catholic Bible tells you everything. If you understand what that's supposed to be, you understand everything that they do to you with religion. The Missionaria Protectiva is how Paul Atreides became the Muad'Dib, the holy man. But so basically, the mysteries that were once embraced in the higher centers of learning were abolished. They had to go underground. I want to bring you guys back a little bit. Think about ancient Greece. These are people that figured out shit that you can't. We think of people in the past as stupid. Take someone who's smart today, put them on a desert island, blank their brain out so that they don't know what people found before, just with their intelligence, and give them whatever tools they need, and have them figure out the shit that the ancient Greeks figured out, or the ancient Egyptians for that matter. These people were so much smarter and intelligent and rational than anybody walking around on average today.
They figured out the circumference of the Earth by looking at the fucking stars.
Yes, Pythagoreans, LS, yes, good call, yes, Flesh, you're right. There's so much shit that we don't understand that they figured out without computers. They sat there with their fingers and abacuses and in their orgies and their Apollo fucking divinations with the gas and all. They figured this shit out. So when we look at them and our modern hubris is to say, oh, they believed in these gods, that how primitive their minds must have been. Oh, look, we know better. Gods aren't
We're
real. Look at
so
how
superior. Oh.
yeah. Well, I got news for you. They didn't believe in them in the same way that many theistic people do. The idea that the ancient Greeks, at least by and large, believed in their gods as literal, as if the myths were literal, is a complete travesty and misunderstanding of the ancient world. That is not to say that they disregarded them as living beings. I do believe that they did see them as valid entities, but not literal ones, in the same way that we would classify each other. And we've had this conversation about, are you more real than Superman? But in the same sense, they absolutely, I'm not saying there weren't cults and people who really believed in the literal gospel of the gods. I think that just like today, there's Christians and people who read the Bible and think it's a great allegory and metaphor and a way to live your life, but they don't sit there and go, well, the Garden of Eden was totally real and the earth's only 6,000 years. But then there's Christians who do. So I think that's probably fair, right? It's probably fair to assume that there was some kind of a mixture going on. But these people were not stupid. They weren't uncivilized. Their technology was less, sure. But they were far more advanced in most ways that matter to even people that came 1,000 years after their society fell. They had cures for things and understandings of things that would blow our minds. So the Christians come and they wipe out a lot of this stuff. Anything that threatens the hegemonic order of the dogma of Christ has to go. And so the mysteries have to be communicated in either one of three ways or one of two ways. Let me see if I can get the three ways. The first, of course, is to incorporate it into Christian theology. And you see this all the time. Neoplatonism, agnosticism, or Gnosticism, I should say, Hermetics. These are all things that were together with Christianity, theosophy, not theosophy, but the theology of Christianity. These all kind of happened together, and they fed on each other. People don't realize that Hermetics and Gnosticism and all these things that are so interesting are kind of offshoots or parallel to Neoplatonism. Like there were Neoplatonists that made those things, kind of like not made, but sort of helped arrange them. They're Neoplatonic in a way, and Neoplatonism is very friendly to Christianity because the Christians would just say that the one, the source, that Plotinus talks about is that's Yahweh. Of course, at sword point, that's Yahweh. But they would say, yeah, we're cool with that. We'll just make sure we call that Yahweh. And it becomes pantheism instead of a non-dualistic perspective. You have the source, and you have the demiurge, and you have all these things, and these are acceptable in Christianity, maybe not as acceptable everywhere as they could be, but they fly under the radar that way. Then you have, now in a way, this was a way to occult the truth, because it's still in there, and the people who know the secret truth, they can communicate it in code. They get to do that. Maybe that's why Sophia is seen as the bad guy and Yahweh is sometimes equated with Sophia, right? Or below Sophia even, if you're familiar with that perspective. I'm not saying that as a rule. I'm just saying I've seen that. So it gets occulted somehow. And that's one way. It joins with the Christian theology and persists this way. Another way is for it to become secret cults, who once again have to use even more secretive terminology and things, and these things get demonized, of course, when they get found, and so they have to work blinds into their grimoires and knowledge so that people who pick it up think it's something completely different. because they don't want people to catch on. Now, I think the Watcher, the version I'm talking about, which is equated closer to like your holy guardian angel from Crowley or something like that, which is the one you find in the Necronomicon, is a clever ruse. So what could it be? What could the Watcher be? If it's a clever ruse, what are they not telling you? What is this code for? I'm not speaking factually. This is all my opinion. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they meant. I only know what I mean. If someone knows the guy who wrote the Necronomicon, please have them come on my show. They can blank their face and everything. We don't have to reveal their identity. They can come on and they can set my record straight. I would love to have that, because I'm not in contention with them. But when I hear the word Watcher, when I was a kid, Watcher, somehow I didn't know the story of the Book of Enoch when I was a kid, but I called upon the Watcher like a lot of young, edgy, metalhead goth kids did, trying to be cool, doing a ritual in their basement out of the Necronomicon. And what I got to me was a fallen angel. And it had to integrate with me before I would be spiritually whole. And turns out it was a shadow, or what I now call a shadow. Maybe calling it limiting it to a shadow is maybe unfair, but it's what I now call a shadow. But was that my Watcher? Some people are probably cheering, yes, I knew it was a shadow. No. It's not the shadow. Now, if I keep repeating myself on what is the Watcher, it's because I'm kind of giving myself a Snickers moment to try to figure out how to tell you and educate you as much as possible with what I'm thinking in a way that's not going to confuse you or make you feel like you've got to attack my position on this. Because I'm very opinionated. There's a guy who read part of my book on a podcast, and after he's finished reading it, he proceeds to talk about me and his experiences with me. And he's a very love and light, left-hand path kind of guy. And he says I'm opinionated. And it's like, if you had the conversation I had with him, I found that when someone accuses you of being opinionated, it's because you don't agree with their opinionated ass, is what it is. But it's difficult to say what you think without stepping on someone's toes. So I'm just going to say it. So what am I talking about? What the fuck am I talking about? I'm kind of talking about something that we confuse for the soul. And in the Sanskrit, we would be talking about the Atma. It is the collection of limitations that our limitlessness puts upon itself so that it can have a perspective in reality. Perspective, by definition, is a limitation. Now, I'm not sure if the dictionary says that, but if you think about it, I'm right. In order to have a perspective, you must be limited to one spot in an otherwise bigger position, right? So let me walk you back from. If non-duality, or at least the variant that I communicate with you guys, is the statement that everything is consciousness, or better, everything is awareness. If you guys watched my YouTube short the other day, I get up on the camera and I put on my best D.H. Thorne the Guru face and I do my voice and I go, awareness is not an experience you're having up here. Oh, I'm so arrogant about it. Awareness is not an experience you're having in here. In here is an experience you're having in awareness. That's that philosophical inversion I'm always talking about. But that is the probably the best way to refine what non-dualism means. It's still saying too much, but it's to me, like that. Put that on my tombstone. Non-dualism is the idea that you are omniscient. And by virtue of being omniscient, you are also omnipresent, because if you're omniscient, you must be everywhere to know everything. And omnipotent, because if you know everything, you're doing everything. So it is the quintessential omniscience, all-knowingness. The true nature of reality is all-knowingness, all-awareness. It is all awareness, everything, not mind. This is why, like, when I hear the Kabbalion stuff, I go, okay, that's really great, but depending upon what they're saying when they say mind, they're not saying it right. The mind is something that awareness experiences. Your mind is a thing that is contained within this infinite nothing of awareness. So omniscience is boring. I'm not saying it's bad, it's boring. Now, Fleshy, you're a little different than most people. We had this conversation, what was it, last night or the night before, where we were talking about spoilers, and you're like, oh, I don't mind spoilers too much.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
I
that
just
was
figure
last
it's
night.
like, yeah, and you're just like, I'm cool with it for the most part. Well, what if I didn't just spoil the ending, but what if I robbed from you the experience of seeing it even then? Like, what if I not only told you how it ends, but I already gave you the experience of knowing the whole story like you watched it? Wouldn't you be like, fuck? I mean, you wouldn't hate me for it, but wouldn't it be like if a 10 out of 10 is having the whole thing revealed to you the way it was meant to be, and a 9 out of 10 is I know the ending, but I got to see how it got there? Wouldn't a complete fail for you be, fuck, I've seen it already. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah, I don't know because specifically the conversation we had last night was about how I was suggesting to DH that he listen to this podcast that, gives a basic breakdown of the plot of the various Dune books, and you responded with, I kind of want to read them first. And I retorted with, well, Romeo and Juliet is a classic that a lot of people love, and it literally opens with the narrator saying exactly how the story is going to end, and you're still on your toes to watch it happen. So I don't know, for the entire experience and everything. No, honestly, realistically, I feel like I feel like the context matters a lot. If it's you're telling me this is exactly how it happens, everything from A to Z and all the letters in between and the things in between those letters, then I'd probably feel like, well, then there's no reason. Like, I already know it. I don't think it would. I don't know, because on one hand, it's still the experience of knowing that story, even if you're not experiencing it from A to Z, even if you start at M and then go to B and then fast forward to Y, you're still experiencing the story, and that has value, even if it's in a format that you don't normally associate with, consuming media or whatnot.
True, yeah.
So,
I know I find myself, like, when I read, I've gotten impatient about reading. I want the whole page to be in my head already. Like, I like, it's not fitting in through my eyeballs fast enough. Come on, hurry up. And I can't speed read fast enough. Like, even when I do speed read a little bit, I'm not the fastest speed reader. I'm getting better at it, but I don't like speed reading. I feel like I'm losing the meat and potatoes. But anyway, so I remember something that, I don't know if it was my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather. We were talking about one time about Alzheimer's, and they're like, if I ever get Alzheimer's, I kind of think I'd enjoy it, because then I could watch all my favorite movies over again, and it'd be like I never watched them once or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. And it's kind of like, it brings me to my next point about omniscience. If you were an omniscientness and you knew all, you knew what Thorne was going to say next already. You probably already do if you watch me long enough. If you knew what I was going to say next, if you knew when you were going to die, if you knew how every movie was, not just how it ends, but I mean, you've already had the experience of it because you're omniscient. Wouldn't something you'd be interested in doing is limiting yourself by forgetting, by creating separateness, by creating forgetfulness, by creating before and after, and then pretending you're only here and now, and that there is no recollection of things that haven't happened yet, even though you already know? Wouldn't you, wouldn't that be part of the fun? So this is the principle of the Atman. You are Brahman. You are everything. You are all things. You are all possibilities. Yes, LS, the Fool Tarot card, correct. Would you not, if you are the world, where do you go after you're the world? You become the Fool again. Of course, LS. You graduate. Very good catch. Very good catch.
You now move on to the Magician. And after that, the Empress.
Yes, you get to move on to the Magician. Yes. Yes. For sure. Totally. So it's like the people who made the tarot knew what I'm talking about. The imagery of the all-seeing eye is also what I'm talking about. We'll get to that in a moment. I bring this up a lot. So wouldn't you, or if you were an all-knowing, all-seeing, all-everything, wouldn't you also, not saying you'd have to, but wouldn't it be something you'd want to do from time to time, is limit yourself to see it from the perspective of something inside of it? How many of you right now, like Fleshy, you know your body pretty good. Wouldn't you want to, just for shits and giggles once in a while, like get put into a tiny little torpedo submarine inside your body and see everything and how it's working? Wouldn't you want to do that from time to time?
Yeah, or, let me put it from a different perspective. When you're playing a video game in a setting that you love, it's great to absorb things from behind that, just like, oh, I don't actually have to run constantly everywhere. I don't have to actually feel what it's like to get stabbed. I can just experience it from behind this and just watch this version of me experience that. But then occasionally, oh man, I would just love to dive into my character in the secret world and run around London and do all this shit. I want to experience it directly. So yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, look at those people who, like, they can't get enough excitement. They got to jump out of an airplane. I mean, of course, even being stabbed, you'd want to try, right? That's like, and this meme happens a lot, and it is a meme. It's a trope. It's a meme. It's a trope. Like in the movie Dogma. Now, hopefully, I'm not giving this away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but what does God do? God becomes immortal. God becomes a person just like one of us, just like the Alanis Morissette song. What if God was one of us? I mean, that is non-dual principle, like number 14 or something. That's basically the idea. Is you've limited yourself down into the Atman. And the Atman can be pretty fucking big, let's be honest. The Atman could be galactic, it could be pan-galactic, it could be enormously big, or it could be the size of a Planck length. Maybe smaller even. It could be a black hole. It could be anything. It limits itself down to the smallest unit of awareness that is possible. And all the way back up again. The thing is that no matter how big it is, it fits in awareness. No matter how small it is, it fits in awareness. But the thing that's funky about it is the bigger you see, the less detail you pick up. Mm-hmm. The smaller you see, the more you lose the big picture. So the Atman is always, maybe the best way to think of it is it's always the same size. It's that it zooms in and out with like a lens almost. So what is this watcher we're talking about? Armed with what I just described for you, what could the watcher be? Well, let me state something for you. You are not a you, you're awareness. If everybody, when you're done with this stream tonight, if you've got balls and you want to figure out what you are, go into a meditation where you do your best to focus on your breathing or something, get your mind off of your mind, and just exist in your own space for a little bit. And then ask yourself, what's doing that? At the end of that rainbow, I'll give you the spoiler, the answer is awareness. That's what you are, is awareness. You're going to say, oh, so I'm the one who's aware? No, not the one who's aware. The one who's aware is something awareness is aware of. That's the watcher, is the one who thinks it's aware. So awareness watches the watcher. Because the watcher is a named thing. The watcher is a compartmentalized, it's a noun. It's a proper name for a thing. Which means it's still one layer down from awareness. So what you are is more like a verb. You're not something that has happened or will happen. You're a happening, an ongoing happening. You're an ongoing awareness. You're not awareness in the past tense or in even the ideological sense. You're awareness in the happening sense. You transcend being. This is why all of these mystical Zen, and even if you go back into Europe, they were kind of the same thing. I think that Western thinking, being a little bit more left-brained in nature, being a little bit more like interested in definitions and defining things, maybe had words that caused confusion because they were so much deeper and richer. But it's also a matter of we lost their meanings because of this Christian burning out of our spirit that happened. If you look at a lot of your words and you look at where they come from and you look up what they really meant once upon a time ago, it's something completely different, especially in a spiritual sense.
Well, because isn't it just like you were saying earlier with the early Christian forms and everything, you have to keep some things occulted, and that's a really aged magical tradition of hiding deeper meanings within shorter words or phrases, common ones, in fact, to where after a couple generations, all that nuance will be lost because people are just knowing the shorthand and forgetting the deeper meaning of all of it.
I'll even take you one further. How many of you guys hear me talking about this and I tell you what it is, and you go to bed tonight and you're like, okay, whatever? How many other people would respond to it better if I was all mysterious about
it? Not me, that's for sure.
If I was, well, I'm saying my audience, my friends, my fam, my spiritual family, a lot of you guys like my directness. But then you guys concoct this whole mystery around it sometimes, I think. And you think I'm like, maybe I'm saying things I'm not, or like maybe even though I'm being really plain, you still haven't put two and two together, or whatever it is. I'm not saying none of you get it. There's definitely some of you guys who absolutely get it. But I think that in some ways, if I came out here and was like, we're going to do a ritual where we call upon our watcher, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then the process of that ritual takes you through the stages of meditative experience where you have gnosis of that thing. And the gnosis of that thing is the epiphany of Zen. Wait a minute, I'm awareness. I'm nothing. I'm literally nothing. I am the most feminine energy you can imagine because I receive all. I receive myself. I am the masculine and the feminine. I'm injecting myself with this experience. Well,
wouldn't this kind of be like the discussion that we were having about, what you're saying with keeping it mysterious? Wouldn't that be kind of like just showing somebody the intro to a movie and saying, you got to watch until the end if you want to find out? Whereas what you do normally is tell them the whole alphabet.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So there is something to be said. I think that might be another reason to occult things. Is occulting things is a way to entertain the monkey. If I walk out, why do I get hit with the Thorne, you're such an egoistic, arrogant, opinionated asshole comment so much? Because I'm straight. I'm direct. I don't mean straight like cis. I mean, I'm straight. I'm direct. You're laughing at me. You're laughing at me.
I'm not.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
I'm not laughing at you. There's a delay on this video, so I don't think the angry finger knew when they posted this, but the synchronicity of that is brilliant. said, laughing my ass off, returned to monkey for half a second. Right as you were given that
Oh my
thing
God.
about just entertaining the monkey.
Nice. I
I'm
didn't see
sorry,
that.
that delighted me in a weird way.
Maybe it meant return to monk. Monkey, maybe. Maybe it meant monk or monkey. I don't know. We'll wait to see what he says. All right. Let's see if I can burn the house down again, because this thing's really being difficult tonight.
Getting some of
Oh
them
my goodness.
psychic bullets.
I mean, really, this is like really ridiculous. So why do you think I get hit with that? Oh, I mean, obviously, I don't care if you think I'm arrogant. I mean, I do to a point, because sometimes I'm just not in the mood. But I mean, if I care that you think I'm arrogant, isn't that arrogant of me? You know? What do you want me to say? That's why it's a great gaslighting technique narcissists uses to call you arrogant or egotistical or something like that. Because the moment you try to say you're not, you're like, that's exactly what someone would say. You can't argue with someone when they say that. They already hate your ass at that point. You can't even come close to making up with that person. So why would they say that to me? Well, because I'm direct about it. I'm not playing this. I respect your intelligence enough, believe it or not. My arrogance extends to you. I think I'm you too. I don't think, even if you're stupid, I don't think that this is somehow below you. I think that the people who need to hear what I'm saying, that doesn't make me special, because sometimes I need to hear what you guys are saying. The people who need to hear what I'm saying need me to be plain about it. Because the whole world has spent thousands of years hiding things in mythology and metaphor. Every once in a while, you need somebody to come along and be like, this is bullshit, but this is what the bullshit means. And unpeel the banana and shove it in your mouth and say, eat this thing.
You need a Diogenes to just hold a chicken up to was it Plato's audience? Was it Plato? Socrates?
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No, I think, yeah.
You need Diogenes to hold the chicken. That's the important bit. And we have a super chat from Marion Eisenberg. As a child, I'd often run and jump into bed, avoiding spooky shadows and whatnot. And now I'm more at peace with how I literally always felt I was being watched while I slept.
Oh, Marion. Oh, man. We're not even talking about that. I told you that was my, well, whatchamacallit. We should talk about that a little bit. But I think that was my sort of a little bit of a, I did a oopsie. I did a naughty thing. I put in that clickbaity kind of thing. But this is what I mean. I'm sort of playing that game right now. I had to if I put in here, let's talk about non-duality tonight. I have a feeling my concurrent viewers would be like 20 tonight. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people love my non-duality rants. Maybe they do. Why doesn't Thorne talk about demons? He's always calls himself a demon sorcerer. He never talks about demons. I am. I am. Just not the way you've been taught that it means. Maybe I'm being a demon right now. Maybe I'm being a daemon, the proper understanding of the term.
If a demon showed up to you and it wasn't wearing the horns and the fangs and all of that, would it be any less a demon? Would a rose still smell as sweet by any other name?
I mean, the smell of a rose is just the smell of an ass of a different kind. I mean, it's the smell of somebody's pussy, basically.
It's
a plant
all
pussy.
perennials. Perennial, or if you know something about plants, I feel like that was wrong.
A little bit.
It's all fucking rosebuds.
Yeah, it's all rosebuds. It's all the blood. It's all the blood of the plant that you smell, and its cum and its eggs. All right, so the Watcher is the egregore of your true higher nature. And your egregore is like a Russian nesting doll. In psychology, you have, what is it? The id, the ego, the superego, all these different pieces. That's one interpretation. Blah 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 blah. In ancient Egypt, you have the quintuple soul, or what do they call it? The 5-part soul. You've got all these different ways of describing the soul, and each one of those ways of describing the soul is describing a way of defining yourself as separate from other things and people. Let me repeat that. It's the most important thing I'm going to tell you about the soul ever. No matter what your perspective on what the soul is, every definition of the soul is nothing more than a way for you to separate this identity from the rest of creation itself. When I say I don't mean Christian, I just mean the rest of the universe. It is a way to cause separation from your little box of awareness from everything else. It's a way to create perspective. Remember what I said earlier, perspective is, by definition, a limitation. So soul is synonymous with perspective, limitation, Atman, and all of those things in that spectrum of words. In a way, Jillian, is that Jilligan? I'm sorry, whoever you are. I want to say your name. Jilligan. Jilligan, is that right? Jilligan.
Close enough.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, but I'm trying to elucidate and unravel and untangle the mythology of that higher self so you understand what that really is. Because if I say to some person off the street, oh, the watcher is your higher self, what do they always do? I probably don't even have to ask that question.
Leave me alone.
What did you do? Well, okay, well, fine. What do people generally do when you say it's your higher self? They go, it must be an angel. It must be this. It must be that. And they don't ever put the dots together. They still live in a separated mind. By being told that your watcher is any of these things, and not being told that the watcher is a perspective, it's a limitation of omniscience, and that is what you are. So let me put it to you like this, okay? Jilligan, if you say to me, I'll call you Jill, thank you. Okay, Jill. If your watcher is your higher self, how can yourself be aware of it? Wouldn't it be that your higher self is watching you? In other words, wouldn't that be you? Wouldn't that be your awareness that's watching it all through? Wouldn't that be what it is? How could you call it your higher self if it's yourself? It's a backwards comment. It doesn't sound like it, because in English it makes perfect sense. But in a spiritual sense, in an ontological sense, there's a problem there. It'd be like saying it's my higher eye, like my higher vision. What is that?
Well, isn't that kind of like saying we are all a piece of God? We are God and everything is God. We are all peace.
Sure. But saying we're a piece of God is absurd. Is what I'm getting at. Because there is no piece of God. God, if we're using God in that pantheistic synonymous way of awareness, of omniscience, of you are the divinity itself, how could you be a piece of that? So isn't that again identifying with the separation? Isn't that the thing that we're constantly saying that's the delusion? The delusion is the separation. So by saying I am, that I have a higher self, you've already put yourself in separateness from yourself. You're identifying with your hand instead of the thing that motivates it. I did this thing with somebody in Discord the other day where we had this conversation. It was a great conversation. It was me and I think Mark and a few other people. We had this nice conversation on Discord. And I did this thought experiment for them. And it went something along the lines of, you think you're in your head right now. That's where you think you are. And most of us would not hesitate. If I came at you with a hatchet and said, I'm going to cut your hand off, you'd be like, no, that's me. That's part of me. Don't do it. But if I asked you where you were, you'd be like, well, I'm in my head. Well, then don't complain about your hand. That's not you. And so when I said to them, think about your hand over there. And you look at your hand, you go, okay, that's my hand over there. And you go, that's not me. That's a part of me. Ha-ha. Close your eyes. Where are you now? What I'm going to try to tell you is that your idea of over here and over there is a spatial concept. Let me rewind a little bit. Yeah, go ahead, Fleshy.
I find this relevant to what you're saying. Do you know about that the hand stabby stab experiment?
No, no.
Um
I know what you're saying. No, not quite.
they have this test that I find really interesting that goes in with what you're saying, where they have somebody put both their hands down flat on a table, except there's a little, I'll try to visualize this, there's a little wall between their hand. They lay out a mannequin hand on the table right next to your actual arm, but there's a little shelf so you can't see your actual hand. In your peripheral, all you can see is the mannequin hand, and you're supposed to look dead ahead so that your hands are only visible in your peripheral. And they, give you a bunch of stimulus. They have somebody sitting there talking to you for a while, and the whole time, while maintaining straight ahead vision, they'll start tickling your hand. They'll tickle your hand and the mannequin hand in the exact same way, and you'll start to build an association with that. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, they will pull out a fork or a knife or something and drive it right into the mannequin hand. And so many people, even though that isn't their hand, that's something else, they still feel the pain.
Yeah. That's not quite what I'm getting at, but that is absolutely a marker, a thing that will tell you, wait a minute, my perception of reality is completely fucked. You can't, don't believe your lying eyes. So let's go back to omniscience. You're omniscience and you want to have a perspective. What does this mean? Well, the first thing you've got to do, there's three separations that are intrinsic to reality as we understand it. There's the separation of spatial separation, that is here versus there. We're not the same place. In reality, everywhere is here. The only reason that you call here separate from there is either because of a perspective, but no matter where you go, you're always here. So how dare you say over there? You go, well, I know over there is separate from over here because I'm in my living room and my kitchen's over there and there's a door and all this stuff. I know it's separated because it's not. No, it's compartmentalized. Doesn't mean it's separate. It's still here. It's just you put a box around it and said that makes a difference. So one of the first, they happen at the same time, but that's for conversational purpose. The first separation is spatial. You get the 3 dimensions of space. There's probably more than 3. Then you've got the next one, and maybe this one came first, actually. You know what? Let's do it in order of how they probably really happened. The first one really, and I'm going to give you guys the finger just because I did this one already, so I'm going to do the first one. Put this on the screen cap for this video, for this episode. The first one was temporal separation. It had to be first because you wouldn't know what first is without the temporal separation. So the first one is by necessity the temporal separation that says now is separate from later and before. They're not the same thing, even though they always are. Have you ever been to the future? Have you ever been to the past? No. You're always now. Whenever you're there, it's always now. The idea of a past and a future is a conceptual one. It's another box you've drawn around something. So the first separation has to be temporal in nature. You must create the delusion of time, which is the limitation of time. The first thing omniscience has to do is say, I don't know how it ends or how it begins. Everything's a mystery. The before and after is a mystery, and I'm going to only know a small little bubble in the past and an even smaller bubble of the future. This way, I'm always surprised. That's the first separation. I am not all time. Separation 2 is spatial. I am not all space. I am here, not there. Or here and there are 2 separate things. The final separation is perspective or relativity. It is a derivative of the other 2 in a sense because you must have the other 2 first so that you can have a here and a there, and then you must be somewhere in the middle so that you can recognize the difference between the two. So perspective is the third limitation, and it's the one that you are living in. It's the one you identify as. You don't identify as past, present, or even now or future. You don't identify as there, or here. You identify as you within that matrix of space-time, right? Tell me I'm wrong. How many of you look at the world and go, oh, I'm actually this little blob of space? Nobody does that. Nobody says I am this moment of time. Nobody does that. We all say I am this guy or this gal. So, 1, time, 2, space, 3, perspective or relative. So those are the 3 separations. Well, that third one is you as a watcher. That is your watcher. Remember again, awareness is aware of the watcher.
I'm gonna sneak in a quick super chat. Scarlet Bale says, just a quick hello, you look great. Thank you for continuing to walk the left-hand path. And thank you as well, Scarlet.
So sweet. Thank you, Scarlet. Scarlet's pretty awesome. She's always been very supportive of us and a lot of other people in the community. And she's so selfless about it. And, you know, I appreciate that. I mean, you know, full disclosure, I don't think everybody should agree on everything, right? I think everybody should have some things that we don't agree on. But Scarlet, again, another big person that we've disagreed on things, and we've managed to continue to support each other and be friendly, and I love that. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you for coming here and dropping a dime and doing that.
So
Jill, your delusion is the watcher. It is a delusion. You are the watcher in the same way you are the eye. Are you your eyeball? No, you look through your eyeball. You're the awareness looking through the watcher. The watcher being the ultimate expression of your separation. The watcher being the Russian nesting doll that goes on forever, in which you're always somebody else watching something lower. Anytime, so there is awareness. There is the thing that is aware, and then there is the things that the thing. So there's awareness. There is a thing you're aware of, and then there's somebody that you identify as who's aware of those things, and that is also a thing you're aware of. All of this is in this giant space of knowing. Behemoth X, thank you, brother, for the J. Thank you for the J, worth $26.66. I appreciate you, brother. Love you, man. I love that you just gave me a J. In fact, take the money back and give me the J. I love the J. I think he's saying happy 420, which is already passed. Dude, are you that high? Because we call a joint a J, right? So
that seems like a fucking meme or something. Like, I love you, dude.
It should be.
Just J.
Just give people a J. Behemoth X, that's a meme in Thorne Hub. It's a meme.
Dude, my
give him the
sense
J.
of humor is fucking broken. Behemoth X just came in and all he said was J, and I'm fucking in stitches.
That's another one. See, these are like, all right, I really appreciate you guys for dropping this and being so good. And I'm feeling I feel like a benevolent God today. I thank you guys so much for being so generous. Isn't the word. You guys are not just generous. I mean this to everybody. I mean Jay Sauber, who has been, every time I go live, I put a video out the other day. It was a premiere, and the guy drops $4.99 or whatever it is. And I'm not even doing a live show, and the guy drops money on it. And I'm just like I want to hug the man. He's so supportive. I'm not like that. Like, full disclosure, I am not a supportive guy. Like, I am, I guess, but I don't think I'm supportive. Like, I look at everybody else, I'm like, damn, I'm jealous of how supportive and sweet you guys are, because I'm not good at that. I want to be. Like, I look at that and I go, But then when I feel like I'm doing it, I feel like I'm doing it for narcissistic reasons, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just kissing ass or something. I don't know, guys. Maybe that's a little bit of Thorne humility coming out. I don't know, but I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you a lot. I'm not kidding. I really mean it. Behemoth X, I want to get you on the show, please.
Oh, fuck
Anytime you
yes.
want to call in, like we will shut up and just let you on. Like just be like, I'm gonna call in and I'll finish my thought and we'll bring you on.
I I fucking especially love you, dude. I had to block my camera for a second to fucking dry my eyes. I was crying so hard at that.
Is that what that was? I'm like,
Yeah.
what's he doing?
Oh fuck.
So let me try to finish this watcher thing because
Yes. You,
I mean I can tell you very simply, your watcher is the thing that says I am, as if, see, when people say like the most enlightened thing is to say I am, no, 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 no. The most enlightened thing is to know you are the thing that hears the I am.
mm,
You are the hearing of I am. You are the audient void. Let's do a Lovecraft moment. Like Lovecraft, like did he have any clue what the fuck he was saying when he was talking about Nyarlathotep? Nyarlathotep is like the watcher. It is the mind of the old ones, the soul of the old ones, the identity of the old ones walking amongst us. And it will be there to speak to the audient void. That gives me the good kind of chills. Like I want to meet this thing because it's me. You're Nyarlathotep, brother. You and sister. You are Nyarlathotep. You are the soul of the outer gods. You are the avatar. You're the avatar of nothing. The all-seeing nothing. You're the avatar of that. That's the watcher, is the avatar of the all-seeing nothing. Can I get a boom? Because that's what it is.
boom.
And that avatar is like a Russian nesting doll. Every time you take a layer off, there's another layer, and there's another layer, and it goes on forever. Because that little motherfucker never wants to be found out that it's nothing. Steve Runyon. Are you related to Poke Runyon? If so, please get Poke Runyon on here. Because that's another guy I'd like to talk to. He's talking about Descartes. And Descartes is a little, he might be misunderstood even by me. Descartes, when he says, I think, therefore I am, what he's really referring to is not the thoughts. He's referring to the thing that experiences the thoughts. I think that's what he really meant. But Western people, and when I say Western, it sounds so racist. I don't mean it like that. But the Western culture, hold on.
I think it's one of those things where because I also hate that term, but I think we all know what we're saying with it.
Right? Yeah. Steve Runyon says yes. Is that yes, you're Poke Runyon? If so, open up the phone lines. That's another one. We got to get Poke Runyon on. If that's actually the Poke Runyon. For real. No, I'm seriously not kidding. I want to talk to him, Behemoth X. I'm fired up tonight. Like somebody give me cocaine so I can mellow out because that's how I feel. I feel like I did like a whole 8-ball right now.
I think
So let me
Behemoth
repeat
dropped
it
the
again for the
J-ball.
people in the back. Yeah, the J-ball. Yeah, that was what Behemoth X just gave me, a J-ball. It's not quite the same thing as an eighth or whatever.
It's what the kids
it's
are
a little
calling
smaller.
a Jeffrey now.
Yeah, it's a Jeff. Okay. All right. I'm good. So let's do it again for the kids in the back and people who showed up late. The watcher is the avatar of the audient void. That is the watcher. And it's not what you are, really, even though I said that. It's what you think you are. You think that go back to my 20-second short from the other day. You think that awareness is a thing that's happening in here. But in here is a thing that's happening in awareness. Jill, you think that you're an awareness that the watcher has. The watcher is is a thing that awareness has. The watcher is the in here that you think you are. And it's got a whole bunch of layers. So when I say my higher self, I'm really talking about that rushing nesting doll going way back to a place where I feel insignificant. It's a humiliating thought. And you can say that in a positive way, but it's always negative when I say that. Because so long as you're humiliating yourself as being below something, you're causing a separation from what you are. Lucifer was seen as prideful, Satan was seen as prideful and arrogant, and that is why they fell. It's seen that way because nobody who's in a hegemonic system wants you to know that you're it. Lucifer basically turned to God in the lingo of Christianity. He turned to God and said, wait a minute, how come you? I know I am this too. You're saying you're God, but I know that's what I am too. You didn't make me. We make each other in our relationship to each other. Like when you take a ball and cut it in half, the left and the right hand happen simultaneously. They don't create each other, they are each other. They're the same thing. And you have this separation. You're separated. And Lucifer's mad because he's like, wait a minute, you're demoting me. And you want me to kneel before mankind? That's the story, by the way, that you find in Islam. You want me to kneel before mankind, supplicate myself before this even lower thing that you've cut? What are you doing? Lucifer knows that it is source. Of course, it's still arrogant and says it's a me, but it knows that it is that same source that Yahweh is. It's going to fuck you. How dare you? Don't diminish me. That's just a myth. It's not a literal. Don't take what I'm saying literal. That's the mythology. And we couldn't allow that. The Christians could not allow that. So he had to be prideful. So this is why people who lock horns with me call me arrogant and prideful, because they don't like being told that we're equal and that I'm not humiliating myself, because they think that it's higher to be humble. They don't like that I speak my mind and that I will tell you what I think, wrong or right. Well, Thorne can't take criticism. No, I can't take your bullshit. Just because you disagree doesn't mean I'm wrong. Just because I disagree doesn't mean you're wrong. Thorne can't take criticism. No, what I can't take is bullshit. Because I don't give people bullshit. I don't go to people and go, look how wrong you are. You should be more humble. You'll never... Fleshy, if you ever hear me say, be more humble, please come up behind me with a cricket bat and put the back of my head through the front of my head. Don't ever let me be that guy.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
Okay, good. I give you permission. Any police listening, I give him permission.
Okay, everybody clip the video. Yeah, no, that's actually never come up. In fact, it's for those of you watching, having discussions and everything behind the scenes, like especially sorting out problems and whatnot, with somebody who is as spiritual as Thorne can really be like, just go and watch that who's that long-haired ginger guy who makes the comedy skits?
JP Sears, ultra spiritual.
Yeah,
he's another one. He's like I don't know. I'll have his I'll turn gay. Not because he's hot. I'll turn gay just because he's like another one of my soul. I have a lot of soulmates. He's another one of my soulmates. I want to hang out with him.
But yeah, watch that video about what it's like talking with your spiritual friends or something. It's been a long time since I watched it, but that's what it's like. It's never like, oh, you need to be more humble. It's always like, well, have you thought about the problem from this way? And you really need to embrace that shadow, or it's just like, dude, could you just make it easy sometimes and just tell me like, oh yeah, what a piece of shit. Like you gave me what I needed to hear, but I really just wanted to hear like, oh yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. It's funny. People keep coming back to me for advice, and I mean, I can't save myself, so I don't know what you guys are coming to me for. But no, for real, I know what you mean, because it's like my wife. It's like the guy thing. Like, you know, the woman comes home and she just wants to complain about her day or whatever, and the guy's like, "Well, why did you try this?" Like, I don't need you to solve it right now, motherfucker. I just want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at that. I'm not good at the listening thing. I'm just not, because I listen to what your soul's saying. I go, what does this motherfucker need to hear right now? Not because I'm better. It's just that's what I do. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I can't play games. I think I am like either a little bit on the spectrum, right? I'm a little bit on the spectrum, because I'm not so far on the spectrum I don't get nuance or you know, euphemism and all that. I'm not like that, but I'm pedantic as hell when it comes to my own interpretation of you and how you act and how I like. This is why when people type something to me, I often predict accurately if they'd be like, I didn't mean that as an insult. I'm like, yes, you fucking did. Don't tell me you didn't fucking insult, motherfucker. You know, it's not that I take everything personally, because anybody who has conversation will be like, Thorne, they'll treat me with kid gloves. I'm like, why are you doing that? I know you didn't mean it that way. Just trust that I probably know. But anyway, I'm talking shit. I'm being entertaining, right? So I saw, again, we don't know if it's the actual Runyon, but he brings up Plato, and Plato is absolutely a fundamentally important figure in non-dualism, although people wouldn't know that because it's not maybe not etymologically correct or anthropologically correct, but a lot of what Plato says can fit well into a non-dual perspective, and it was Plato's theories of forms and all of these other things that play very nicely into leading to Neoplatonism with Plotinus, which is again, it's a Western variant of the Advaita Vedanta perspective of literally non-dualism, and they're interrelated so much that it's kind of like Coke and Pepsi. They both kind of taste the same, but one's got this thing in it, and one's in a blue can, one's in a red. They're different. They're not exactly the same, but they're both a cola, and they're both telling you a similar thing. And together, when taken together, they're more useful than I think either one of them separate. Not that that by themselves they're not complete. And anybody who, like, I'm not super educated. I know I talk like I am. I just sit on the toilet and think too much. I am not a member of any of those ideologies. I am not a Neoplatonist, and I'm not a Vedantist, and I am not whatever. I am in a broad category a non-dualist, and if I was going to say, I'd say as a left-hand path non-dualist, I have more in common with Vamchara than I do with the alternative. That's another conversation for another time. So hopefully I have at least primered you guys to understand what I mean by the Watcher. I'm hoping that I've at least made you ask a better question. Instead of thinking of the Watcher as an angel or some spiritual entity, because all that does, while it is technically what I'm saying, it is not literally what I'm saying. The Watcher is not a kind of angel. The Watcher is not a kind of spirit. The Watcher is the egregore of self that you think you are. It's your avatar. It is the avatar for the audient void. It is the perspective, the third piece of the separation puzzle. There is totality, and it must split, and then in the middle is perspective. That perspective is the Watcher. Perspective is an experience had by awareness. Awareness encapsulates all. Awareness itself is limitless. But to have an experience like the one we're having, it must be limited by perspective. So infinity becomes limited. Not because it is limited. Infinity limits itself. It says, I'm not going to look over there. I'm going to forget that. Right? Separation 1, temporal. I'm going to forget the past and the future. Separation 2, over there, over here, over there, and separation from these two sides. And then perspective. I am here now as opposed to then and later. I am here as opposed to there and there. That's it. Again, a trinity, for those of you who know me, you know I love threes. I think I must have been a Pythagorean back in once upon a long time ago days.
Jill's asking, on that note, do you agree with the saying that we are all one?
Remove we are and just put one. It's funny when I look in the comments, I see people talking and like they're arguing with each other, and it's like I'm sitting here like come on guys, be nice to each other. Please be nice to each other. Hopefully you guys are being nice to it. Wyatt and Steve and Poker Onion. I'm gonna call him Poker Onion. It's Steve Runyon. We're gonna call him Poker Onion. Poker Onion and Wyatt. Hopefully you're being nice to each other, but please be spirited. Don't let me stop you from being spirited. But show a little respect to each other. That's all I'm gonna ask. I'm not saying you're not doing it. I just want to make sure it's happening because I'm seeing, what's the word? I'm seeing not violence because that's such bullshit that words are violence, but I'm seeing definite posturing going on. So Wyatt is a young kid, and I mean that in a nice way. Wyatt is a minor, and his brain is huge, Steve. So I'm just saying, and Wyatt, well, you know what I'm going to tell you, Wyatt. Don't be too impetuous. You're a youngin', okay? Wyatt is a true blue. Wyatt and I had like not an argument, but like a misdiscussion. Not even a misunderstanding, misdiscussion. And it got better. And it turns out he's a young man. And for a kid his age, when I say kid, I don't mean that diminutively. For a kid his age, holy fuck. If that kid can just listen and keep doing what he's doing, I have hope. I have hope for the future. Okay? Someone that age asking the questions they're asking is phenomenal. Steve, honesty is great, but when it comes from, and I'm not trying to diss you, I'm being honest with you. When it comes from a position of posturing, I'm not trying to be critical of you. I'm just asking for politeness, that's all. I'm not trying to make a safe space. I'm just telling you, it's a 14-year-old kid, dude. When you're saying, you obviously don't know hermetics. Dude, he's 14. And he's here. And he's holding his own with adults. That's all I'm saying. Don't take it personally, man. Don't take it personally.
We're not trying to put anybody down. Just, we'll keep everything
We do
nice
anyway. We do anyway. So please don't see me as in contention with either of you. I'm trying to just say, see, Steve, when you say I never knew it was a pissing match, the only one's making a pissing match, I don't know, man. It sounds like you're saying it's a pissing match yourself. You pull some stinky flowers out of your ass and offer them to the ladies. Would that phony shit make everybody feel better? I'm not even sure, what is this argument you're having? What is this, who are you arguing with? Someone disagrees with you. Curse them then. Come on, just relax. Both of you, just please relax. I don't want mods to do anything. I think you guys you're entitled to have your spirited disagreement. And I'm sure people, yes, I'm busy says, unfortunately text doesn't convey tone. It can be read a few ways. I get that. We know this group is a problem. Goodbye to Bog. I'm not even sure what that has. I have a sense of humor, or you've got COVID.
I'm not sure what's happening anymore.
I'm not sure either. Like, I think people think I'm part of Bog. I always find that funny because it's like I've refused to ever, like,
Yeah,
Eric Coetting is my friend. Bog is not my house.
Yeah,
like I respect his work. I respect what he's built, but Bog is not me. It never will be. That's why Eric Coetting and I became friends, was because I said I want nothing in what you're doing. I just want to know you.
By the way, that is a really just entertaining way to open up a friendship. Is just like, hey, I think we're gonna be friends. I want nothing to do with all of that, all of those things you've made. But hey, you want to get a beer or something? Nothing.
Yeah, right?
It will never happen. But do you want a beer?
Because I always, like, when people come to me and they want to, like, be friendly with me, I'm always like, would you want to be my friend if I didn't have this channel and thousands of subs? I'm sure a lot of people would, don't get me wrong. It's just I have to ask that question. I go, like, what is, like, how did he feel? Yeah. And I wanted to make sure that, like, I put that limitation in my way. This way I never accidentally did it, right? I never ever wanted to do that to him, because I feel like to approach somebody as, look, if friends want to offer things, like, I think that's wonderful. But if people want to be like, what can I get from this person? I don't like that. You know, the only thing I want to get from people is that exchange and that friendship. That's what I want. I don't want if you're doing well and you see I'm struggling, you're like, hey, let me throw this guy a bone. I'll take the bone, because I think it's disrespectful not to. Like, I come from that mental culture, but I don't want charity either. But I come from that mental culture, like, I will never refuse a tip, because I realize that tip is not for me, it's for you to feel like you're reciprocating something. It's actually, this is why when I had a friend at this job, it was actually my cousin, and he would run his ass off for tips. He would be a people pleaser to get those tips, and he'd be like hustling. He'd work 7 times harder than me, and he'd make a quarter more than I would on every dollar. He worked his ass off for a little bit more. He'd make $250 a night on Christmas tree tips. I'd make $200. And I went home and felt good. I didn't feel, I was like, no, you can take that other guy. You can take those 5 people at once. And he'd run his ass off.
I'll gladly exchange that $50 not working my ass off.
Yeah. Exactly. And not only that, but the only reason he got more tips was because he helped more customers in the end. He didn't get tipped better per customer. And I always knew, just because I put myself in an empathic way with people who tip, and I go, why do I tip? Do I tip because I give a fuck about the person? Not usually. It's usually because I want to feel like I was generous. I want to feel good. Tipping is for the tipper. So if you want them to tip well, you never get in the way of them feeling good about tipping you. Now, yes, that means you treat them good, but actually I've found sometimes being just a little salty, just to sprinkle a little salt on your work with them. I don't mean like be nasty, but be assertive a little bit. And something will sometimes kick in. And you know what I've also noticed? The people who tip the most are working class stiffs like me, with their girlfriend or their wife or whatever with them, standing there with their, standing there next to them. Those guys tip the most out of anybody.
Yep.
The $20 bill doesn't come from the guy with the Maserati, okay? Don't chase him around. That's not going to usually work.
I've been in that situation too, where somebody singles me out because they see somebody on my arm, and it's just like this look between me and them of like, I know what you're doing, and you know I have to do it. I hate you, but I respect you.
Yeah.
Take this and leave me alone.
Yeah. Wyatt Coverdale says, and Thorne, I'm flattered you see me like that, but not to discredit yourself. Every word you've ever muttered to me is only a mind blower and but a life changer. Okay, man, the only guru's in you. I mean, that's about as humble as I get. I'm just a noise, and you're going, wow, that sounds wise. That's all it is. Don't worry about it.
That
I think we lost Poke Runyon though. I think we lost Mr. Runyon. I think that he didn't like, here's how I see it. If he didn't like the fact that I said cool it, and he's saying he didn't mean disrespect, then it really shouldn't be an insult for me to say cool it either. Right? If I'm not being nasty about it, if I'm just saying it looks like you guys are being a little rude to each other, instead of like if that basically tells me if they did leave, that tells me that I was right in saying cool it. Just saying. Because I'm seeing a lot. Maybe he's being good though. So if that's the case, then I reverse that and say, thank you, Mr. Runyon. Thank you for being respectful now.
Thank you or nice having you, whichever is applicable.
Right. One or the other. One or the other one.
Speaking of Wyatt, he actually asked a question earlier, and I think this is a good time to sneak it in. Wyatt Coverdale.
Is it about Stoicism?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I highlighted. I meant to get back to that, but I don't know if I should or not. I am not like an expert on Stoicism, though I have been said that I am rather stoic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, specifically the question he asked is, speaking of Eastern and Western philosophy, what are your thoughts on Stoicism? I personally think it's nonsense. Why would one want to live in pain when you could entirely destroy it?
See, this is why Poke Runyon got naughty with you, Wyatt, because you say things like it's total nonsense. These are violence words, to use the woke terminology. This is violence. You're committing violence right now, Wyatt. Okay.
I like that too, though, because it brings up discussion.
No, it's actually Stoicism's. And by the way, just so you guys know, we have about another 45 minutes if anybody wants to be a tail gunner and call in tonight. Preferably somebody we haven't heard from before or often from. But just put that up there. Plus, we got our Discord server there, which has been kind of like it blew up for a while, and then it kind of like we get like one a week now with new members. So I don't know what happened. Maybe we reached saturation, but if you're newer here, join our Discord, guys. As long as you're of age. Wyatt, you can't join. You're too young. Anybody who is of age, of the age of majority, you may join our Discord, and we can have wild conversations about things. So, all right, Stoicism. I am by no means an expert, especially in a learned way, about Stoicism. Stoicism is not it is not something I do on purpose. If I seem stoic to you, of course you think it's stupid, so maybe you don't think I'm stoic. If I seem stoic to anybody, that's an accident. If I seem the opposite of stoic, that's also an accident, because I don't have a problem with Stoicism. Stoicism, to my better understanding, is not that you don't feel things. I think to say that Stoicism is somehow loving pain is a wrong interpretation of Stoicism. Stoicism,
I see it more as
is
capacity to endure.
It starts that way. I think Stoicism ends up being the literal non-attachment of Zen at the end of the rainbow. The non-attachment of Zen doesn't say that you're a stone or a rock and you don't feel things. The non-attachment of Zen says that you feel everything vividly and fully, but the sensation doesn't cause ripples on your pond. It's to recognize you are the awareness, not the feeling. Stoicism is doing the same thing. It's just doing the Western version of that thought. Stoicism, if you this is the problem with the Western interpretations, is that sometimes they're too wordy, and so people get them wrong because maybe they were meant wrong. I don't know. Maybe I just see everything because I'm like a hammer of non-duality, and everything to me turns into non-dualism at the end of the day. Maybe that's possible. But when I look at Stoicism, what I do understand of it, Stoicism is not saying to destroy pain. Wyatt, if your goal is to destroy pain, you are going to have more pain than anybody. It is one of the most agonizing things you can do is to not feel pain. paradox, it lives at the heart of spirituality. This is why I say invert your position and see what happens. I don't mean just be empathic to it. I mean invert. Take a statement that sounds like it's saying something and flip it on its ass. I walked to the park. Flip that I walked to the park to I stayed still and the park came to me.
You got to do the Mother Russia thing.
Yes, do the Mother Russia thing. Yes, in the spiritual sense. In Mother Russia, park walks to you. A Stoic kind of does the same thing. In trying to feel no pain, you feel nothing but pain. That's a very Zen statement. Let go or be dragged is a very Stoic statement, and it's a Zen statement. A Stoic, of course, just like a Zen person, would never tell you to just stand there and let a train hit you. It's okay. Let me put it to you like this. I had a conversation with my son today, and we were talking about anger and love, fear. And it started out with fear, because fear is a great can opener, guys. That's why it's a tattoo on my arm. Fear is the mind killer. It's a great can opener for your psyche.
What is that?
Because fear is something that... Yes, thank you. Fear is absolutely a great can opener to spiritual awareness. Because fear comes unbidden. You have no control over it. Like I asked my kid, what's courage? He says, not being afraid. And then he caught himself. He's like, no, wait, I think I've heard the truth. It's actually fear is being afraid but doing something anyway. That's courage, right? That's what courage is. That's what bravery is. And I had a conversation with him today. I said, can you right now cause yourself to feel fear? Especially if you don't think of something scary. Can you just, I'm scared now. Can you do that? Can any one of you do that? Anyone? I'll give you till the end of this video if you can do it. Can anybody do it? Can you just make fear happen in your heart?
Ooh,
No.
I don't think I could do it without that challenge of like, yeah, if I strip away all my blinds and I think of something scary, I could definitely feel fear. But yeah, no, I couldn't just summon fear from the wellspring.
Yeah. I would even argue that even by thinking of those scary thoughts, that doesn't cause fear either, because you already know what those things are and you don't feel fear right now. It's like tickling yourself. Can you tickle yourself and actually tickle?
Nope.
You've got to use a feather or something, right? You got to do something. Are we talking dom and sub shit again?
One of those head things.
Yeah.
But even when you do it yourself, it's not as ticklish. Patchwork with the super chat says, in Mother Russia, the Watcher or Bandar summons you.
Ooh. Yeah, I've noticed Poker Onion's still not back, so. There's my ego, by the way. That's my, when I go, yeah, I read you like a book, motherfucker. So, can you make yourself feel an emotion? Can you make yourself feel pain? Can you make yourself feel pleasure? I don't mean can you do things that give you pleasure or pain. Obviously, if I take an axe and go fuck and chop my hand off, if I don't feel pain, there's something wrong with me, probably. But that's not the same as causing the pain or the pleasure or the fear. So the Stoic knows this. The Stoic knows that those experiences cannot be controlled. You cannot stop pain or pleasure. You can only experience them. That means you're not pain or pleasure. Right? That's what Zen says. That's what most of these enlightened things tell you. You're not your pain, you're not your pleasure. Don't be attached. Non-attachment. Don't be attached to the pain or the pleasure. What is the Litany of Fear? Flesh Priest, Google the Litany of Fear and recite it for me in the most beautiful tone that you possibly can.
Fuck yes, give me a moment.
Eddie's going to do it. He's going to type it out because he probably knows it. I've never memorized it, honestly enough. I just remember the one part that I like. Fear is the mind killer. That's all I need to hear, and the entire meaning comes right into my head. I don't care how it's worded. I know what it says.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Tell me that doesn't sound like the awareness, experiencing fear. And so let's untangle that little wax. So he says, I must not fear. At first, that sounds like the opposite of what I'm saying. I must not fear. Like you could control the feeling. No. He's saying, I must not fear. What is I? I is the awareness. Awareness must not fear. Awareness cannot fear. Awareness does not fear. All right, so let's get the next line. So I must not fear, right?
Fear
is the mind killer. What does that mean? Obviously, it means the obvious. When you're scared, you don't think clearly. True, fair. Fear is the mind killer. It kills the mind. It robs you of the left-hand cognition because you're scared. You become reactionary. Okay, what's the next line?
Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration.
That's a bit of poetry. The meaning there is a little bit less obvious. It's a little bit more obscure, but it's more poetry. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. So fear is the fear of, so all fear is rooted in death somewhere. And by death, I don't mean death. I mean death in the tarot card death. Yes, the tarot sense. Fear is the little death. Fear is the change, because that's what the death card kind of means. The change, the ending, the turning of the cycle. Fear is the death, the impermanence. Fear is the entropy that brings total obliteration. So fear is the attachment to what was and the loss of that. That's what fear always is.
Fear is when you're really absorbed in a good book and you're just like, I don't want to finish it. I don't want it to end. Oh no. I don't want to get to that cover.
I don't want to get to that cover, yes. You've already read the whole book 1,000 billion times because you're omniscient, by the way. You just don't want to, you're still in the moment. Yeah. So fear is the little death. So fear is focusing on that impermanence to the point of suffering. And by doing so, you bring total obliteration because you're so focused on that loss that you miss the big thing that's coming to kill you. It's like the tarot card, the Five of Cups. If you ever look at the Five of Cups, it's a dude who's looking at some spilled cups and he totally ignores the bright side. Well, it's like the inverted version of that.
Oh yeah,
you're so busy
with the hand from the cloud, just like, bro, I got another cup for you. It's right here. That's the one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It's a little bit like that. Eddie's a little bit different on what he's saying about it. He might be right too, because I'm saying what it means to me. I'm sure Herbert meant some other things to it too, by the way.
Gotta get to book 4, dude.
Okay. So the next line, please.
I will permit it to pass over me and through me.
So when you are feeling fear, the fact that you are suffering is because you're attaching to the fear. You're not permitting it to pass over and through you. You are attaching to that sensation and going, that's me, I'm scared. It becomes you. So how do you not do that? You got to let the fear pass over and through you. I've had the experience several times. I'm not saying I'm a master of doing this, but I've had the experience several times where something scary was coming. Maybe I had to jump off of something that was high, and I knew it could hurt. Or I had to make a leap of faith across from, at my work at the nursery, there's times where the forklift drives up to the truck, and there's trees and shit, and I've got to jump across a gap to get to something. And there's a reason I got to do it like that, and it's not a smart idea, but I do it anyway. And it's a little bit hair-raising. But I have to trust that my body will know what to do. At a 330-pound size at the time, mind you. So a little oops would have been a big crunch if I fucked up. And I literally kind of zoomed out and back in my conceptualization of the situation. And in my mind, the fear is the mind killer quote pops up. And I'm feeling this terror at this jump. And my body is moving like I'm not doing it. My body's going and I'm not attached to what's happening right now. I'm co-piloting and it just goes boop and it lands where it needs to go. And that fear passed over and through me. And I accomplished the thing that I didn't think was really a good idea at the time. Now, passing over and through you doesn't mean that doesn't just mean that you experience it and do it anyway. It also means that afterward, I didn't sit there and go, oh my God, that was so scary. Oh my God. I was like, yeah, that was fucking cool. What's the next line? Read it to me.
And when that fear has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path.
Which is what I just said. I'm looking at its path.
And
I'm going, wow, that was something. That was, and seeing its path, it's a little bit reflective. That's the point of that. Is like, it's a reflective moment. What did I just say? After I'm done, I don't sit there going, oh God, that sucked. I go, ooh, I really was alive in that moment. I'm even more alive now. This is cool. All right, go ahead.
I feel
Next
like
line.
it's kind of a way of understanding too. It's like we say that magic takes the path of least resistance. I feel like in some ways fear will be that same way. If you can trace that root of how fear moved through you, then you can really understand some things about it. That's and also yourself.
Yes, good catch. Yeah, if you analyze the fear, if you see where it went, right? If you see its path, you can then find yourself even more in that way. Good point. I didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
And the last line.
Okay, next line.
Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Tell me that's not exactly what I just told you guys for the last 2 hours. You really take the word you are, but I have to take those words out, but I have to use them to communicate. In parentheses, you are. Awareness. Experiencing the you are. You are the audient void. You are the avatar of the audient void. The avatar of the audient void is being experienced by the audient void. So where the fear is gone will be nothing. Now, of course, the lower level understanding is the fear will be over and done with, and I'll still be here. Where the fear has gone will be nothing. It means you. You are the nothing in which this happens. Only I will remain. Because the only thing the awareness is interested in is that avatar, not the fear. It wants to feel the fear. It wants to experience that fear. But when the fear is done, do you follow the fear or do you become you again? Nobody lives angry and scared 24 hours a day. And if they do, it's like a mental disorder. It's a chemical imbalance. And it's something that can be kind of seen in that way. And Eddie's talking about flight school. It's a good connection.
I was just bringing it up, and I was fucking muted.
Oh, he brings up a good point about flight school. He says, the first skill I learned in flight school, when the shit hits the fan, you have to be cool. The instant you lose your cool, everyone else loses their cool, and you all die. It's even more than that. It's that, remember your training kind of line. When you're under stress, you will resort to the most automatic response that you've learned. And if you haven't learned one, you resort to the most automatic response your body's going to have. Your body is often wrong. The untrained body is usually wrong when dealing with a thinking enemy. If you're fighting a tiger, your automatic response might not be as bad as it might seem. You're going to ball up and piss yourself and shit yourself. And you're going to ball up and you're going to be protecting your most vital organs with the strongest parts of your body. And that's everybody's instinct, is right? That actually is probably better than some other. You're not going to want to stand there and be like, haha, I'm going to fight you. Well, maybe you do to scare it off, but anyway. But if you're fighting me, I'm a thinking creature. When you ball up, I go, ooh, kidneys. Ooh, this, ooh, that. Ooh, I can bend your arm. Oh, give me your neck. Real naked choke. Good.
Yeah, well, doesn't that go to that Sun Tzu thing of, in order to understand your enemy, or you need to understand your enemy to destroy them, something like that. And to understand your enemy, you must first understand yourself. Is that I feel like the untrained first reaction is always defense, defense, defense above all else, when really offense can be the best defense you have for yourself.
And Wyatt Coverdale just says punch the tiger. And again, probably not wrong entirely. I have this joke where it's like, what's that meme where it's like how to fight a bear, and then like at the end of it, it's like all delusion, you're basically dead. You know, the meme is like the guy like doing all these like wrestling moves on the bear, like put the bear in a sleeper hold and assert dominance or something, and then like at the end it's like realize that you're just unconscious and that was a dream because you're dead. But I sort of have this joke in my mind where I don't know if it would ever happen, but I really sincerely hope that if death is certain, I'm not caught pissing myself on my knees. I hope that I have the eat shit and die on my lips as I'm punching the shark that's eating me, going, hope you fucking choke, motherfucker, all the way down to Davy Jones' locker. I hope I'm not just like, somebody save me. I hope I'm not that way. I want to go out, just for my own arrogance, I want to go out punching the bear. I don't want to go out like, please stop, this hurts.
You, when the bear chases you, you want to climb the fucking tree. Not to get away from the bear, but so that you could fucking deliver the flying elbow.
Right, exactly. Or at least if you're going to piss and shit yourself, it's got to go on the bear at least.
Yeah.
You know, there is that. Yeah. So you mentioned we have an oldie but goldie who wants to call in, a regular. And I wanted to open it to newbies, but if we've got a good regular, we can bring them on so I can save my voice for a half hour. And we'll put a hard limit on a half hour, and it'll probably be 2 hours. But let's put a hard limit on a half hour, and do that.
Okay, sounds good to me. Yep, bringing them on now. And everybody, please welcome the great and powerful Dr. Eddie.
Oh, then I've got to make visuals. Who's guest one?
Nice to see you, sir.
I don't hear him or see him.
I'm here.
Okay. Are you Bifrost?
Yep.
No, you're not Bifrost.
And
Oh, yes, you're Bifrost.
That's an old nickname. That should tell you how old this Skype account is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like almost like you're like being a hacker and using different ones all the time. What is up, Ed Monster, my good friend, my D&D partner, my occasional World of Warcraft friend, and other assorted things. What is up, dude? How is it going tonight?
It's going. Unfortunately, as these things so often happen, I have about like 5 million things on my brain. So
that's good.
But the one on top of the stack is the Litany Against Fear is sort of Frank Herbert's version of a Japanese thing called Tsuki no Kokoru, Mind Like the Moon, which the idea is that no matter how badly that guy you're fighting beats the tar out of you, it won't affect you. You're the moon. You're just watching it happen. So there you go. And that's why.
Yeah, and that metaphor is the awareness.
Really is a mystical experience.
That's one of your greatest quotes ever. That to me is again, it's a meta, because what is the moon in Zen? The finger pointing at the moon. The moon is a metaphor for awareness in a very cultural way. That's what it is. So when you are the mind, when you're the moon, observe blah 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 blah. That's what it's saying. Zen is a finger pointing at the moon being the metaphor, the occulted metaphor of awareness. because in their culture at the time, I'm sure the moon was something omnipresent at night that was mysterious, and it saw all and all this good shit. So like the sun, you know, but they understood the moon to be receptive somehow. Like let's really, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just reading into what I know, but isn't the moon the feminine receptive version of the sun? It's the polar opposite. The sun is the doer, the moon is the receiver. It's also a light, but its light is reflective, not, you know, it's receptive. It's not, doesn't create the light. So even they knew that back then. They knew that the moon didn't glow. They seemed to know intuitively that the moon was not itself luminous, though it was illuminated and thus luminous. So the moon was receptive and gave birth, if you will. It was the womb of light. Light's womb was the moon. So in Zen, my interpretation then, wrong or right, is that they use the moon in the same way because the moon is like awareness. Awareness is receptive. Awareness is the emptiness in which experience happens. Right? Maybe. I like it. I don't know if it's right, but I like it. And I'm a know-it-all, goddammit, and that's what I say it is. So that's what it is now.
Seems legit.
Prove me wrong. Seems legit. Looks legit.
You know, I
love that meme. Seems legit.
I was gonna reference when you came on and you had that old username. Isnguy420 in the Discord posted that Buttfucker3000 enters Judge Jeffrey's courtroom Zoom session video.
That's so great. I love that.
Yeah, I thought Wyatt was referencing that, and I asked him about it. He said, I'm referencing every butt pun ever made here, almost every time Eddie is at the giving end.
Oh, there's a Dom comment there somewhere, Eddie.
Been on that recently. Must just be something in the water.
Yep.
I like how you're just shaking your head like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it right now. I'm on camera.
Not enough 10-foot poles in the world.
Not with his dick and you pushing. That was what we used to say back in the hood.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
That was back in the old hood. We used to say that one.
But no, so one of the quotes I flog in the chat a lot whenever this comes up is it's a paraphrase actually of Shakespeare, which is the eye cannot see itself. And the second half of it is but by reflection. And it's the same idea as that mind like the moon, the watcher, the observer position. The idea of entering that meditative state, and, you know, sort of the first level is observing your thoughts. And then, well, who's doing the observing? Right? If you're observing your thoughts, you are not your thoughts. If you're observing your body, you are not your body. So because unless the eye can't see itself, it can only see its own reflection in the mirror. And the origin of the mind like the moon, at least the way I learned the meditation, is you learn it after mind like water. And mind like water is flow state, right? So you're thinking, but you're not rationalizing, you're not analyzing, you're doing, right? You're not reacting, but you're keeping the initiative, but you're doing. You're not thinking about it, because as soon as you start thinking about what this guy's doing, he's going to punch you in the face. But the way I learned it is that you visualize yourself sitting at the edge of the pond, and you're looking at the reflection of the moon, right? And there's this whole thing about how, like, well, the reflection of the moon in the water is reflected on your eyes. So there's a moon in your eyes, and there's a moon in the water, and there's a moon in the sky, and there's a moon here, and there's a moon there, and you're watching yourself, and your reflection's watching.
It's Indra's web it's the Indra's web of the moon, because they're all a reflection of the same thing.
And then what Sensei did is you get lost in this literal sort of hall of mirrors in your brain. He just goes, be the moon.
Yeah,
right.
The moon. And just as an aside, as a brain fuck thought, scientifically speaking, when you look at the moon is seeing a reflection of itself in your eyes on a very, very, very small scale, because some of that light will bounce off your retinas and go back.
Yep. But the idea is that the realization you have is it's all reflections. It's all
It's all reflection.
illusion.
It's all Indra's web.
It's all a game.
It's all drops of dew.
And win, lose, or draw, live or die, and it doesn't even matter if you end up being the guy who's laying there in a puddle of his own piss, sobbing and crying as they drive the knife in his neck. That's just a reflection. That's just an illusion.
Yep.
It's a dream. It's
Yep.
a game, and you lost this round. Try again next time.
I wouldn't even say lost.
Right.
You lost, but the loss is the win too.
Right. It lost.
I put in in one of the books I'm writing, which I don't know if I'll finish it, but it was when I started working with King Vine, and it was some gnosis that's obvious gnosis, but it bears repeating. It's not like I learned it from him, but it's something that I quantified in the book, and I said, sometimes the most spiritual things are the most obvious things we overlook in our life because we get entrapped by the minutia of the left brain and our analytical way of dealing with nonsense. And we overlook the obvious. And the obvious thing is there is always equal winning and losing. Even though the only time you will think that the one gets the better of the other is when you identify with one quantity or the other. So there is no such thing as you lose. You always win. You always lose. You're always both. And I'm saying it wrong. I really should open up the page so I can recite exactly what I said in my book. But the principle is, in order for there to be a winner, there must be a loser. In order for there to be a loser, there must be a winner. And there is no separation, obviously, so there is no real winner or loser, but there must be an exchange, a give and a take. There must be a movement, a flow, a yin and a yang circling thing going on. So yes, the problem people have, though, especially with baneful magic or with good versus evil, is this idea of contestation where one must be the victor over the other. One must get the better of the other in the end or for now or whatever. There's always a winner and there's always a loser. They always go like backs and fronts. So the idea that one wins and the other loses is unfair because you are always on the receiving end of the loss because you're it. It's a little confusing, but this is why when I asked a spirit like King Vine why they might allow me to destroy my enemy, if my enemy is also a sovereign being with the same power I have, why is this happening? How can I get the better of you? Right? If I understand us all to be God, why would this God get the better of you, God? Well, it doesn't. On this level, it looks like I am. But in the true level, it's like Punch and Judy. Neither one's winning or losing. They're both hitting the... So if I go like this, which hand is winning? To make it look like one wins or loses, I have to identify with one or the other. Right? Like, try arm wrestling yourself. The only way you can make that happen is if you allow one to overtake the other. It doesn't matter how much stronger your right hand is from your left. Since they're both joined at your chest, you cannot win. It will always be a stalemate every time. So in order to have a loss, the experience of loss, one has to submit to the other. Now, we don't like to admit that we lose on purpose. Nobody does. You're like, I thought you said I'm sovereign, Thorne. How can I be sovereign if I let myself lose? That doesn't sound... You're attached to winning. You're attached to the fun of winning. But if you don't have the fun of losing, you don't have the fun of winning either.
Yeah, then winning doesn't mean shit. It just is.
It just is.
Now, you know who wins when you arm wrestle yourself? The viewers, because then they get tickets to the gun show.
I was going to say, yeah, because you end up... Yeah, I can't flex, man. I still have too much of that old school fat on my body that has to go. It's the skin fat now. Like, I'm not cut. I mean, I got the bumps. They're just, you don't see them good.
Hey, shut up. You look great.
I'll look better when I pass the... People don't realize, like, these are still like 20-inch biceps. They just don't look like it on the rest of my body. I should get a tape measure.
Yeah, I think that's like 2 of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still... like, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't look that impressive. Yeah, but it's bigger than most people's calves, dude. I can crank you up in the air like a toy. It's just, I don't look like it. It's kind of like when you... like a dude with like a Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit gross. When you watch porn, there's a reason why the girls are usually 5'2". This way, the guy with the 6-inch dick looks like a monster cock. That's why. Okay, YouTube, you may now demonetize my entire channel. Thank you.
There's a really important quote in there somewhere. I just have
There
to
is.
figure it out.
Yeah, someone find a way to put that in the book. I mean, whatever we're calling it now, the out of context gnosis channel. But in the same is in reverse. If a dude's like 8 feet tall, his 9-inch penis doesn't look that impressive, like on an 8 foot tall dude. So, yeah.
In the kingdom of the small people, the short-dicked man is king.
That's right.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Yep.
I don't know how we can top that.
Yep. Somebody get Poker Onion back so we can make fun of us. Oh my God. All right. Okay. Irreverence wins. Irreverence wins. Yeah.
And this is why I'm an absurdist.
Yeah. No, it's true. Again, don't forget, if you watch any good kung fu movie, the grand master of kung fu is always this wacky ass motherfucker with stinky feet that like is a goofball. Look at Big Trouble in Little China. The wisest guy was like it was like the goofiest goofball of the whole bunch. That's not a joke. That tends to be how it is. Because the trueness of the universe is a laughing Buddha going, ha, 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 this is fucking absurd. I love it. That's you.
Yeah, in Half a Loaf of Kung Fu, a highly underrated Jackie Chan film, his master is a bum who announces himself by farting.
Yeah.
You know, that's like my favorite, well, one of my favorite martial arts movies ever, ironically, is Kung Fu Hustle. Besides The Last Dragon, it's Kung Fu Hustle. For the same reason that Last Dragon is one of my favorites. Because they both tell the same story, just different contexts. But it shows that very well. There's an element of play. The master is always playing a little bit. It's not a grim task to defeat the enemy. It's this is fun. There's a joy, a pleasure in it. I love the ending. By the way, tell me if you've seen Kung Fu Hustle. If you haven't, I'll try not to kill it, but I'm going to kill it for you. I almost don't want to ruin it.
Is
Have
that
you
the
guys
one about soccer?
No,
Kung Fu Hustle?
that's the
No, it's
other
nothing
one.
about soccer.
I'm thinking of something else then.
Same director,
Yeah.
Shaolin Soccer.
So the end of Kung Fu Hustle, I shouldn't give it away. Fleshy, cover your ears, so I'm going to make you watch it with me. In the end of Kung Fu Hustle, I love how he defeats the guy, and then as he's sitting there, the guy's crushed because he's defeated. He's like, teach me! He's like, oh, you want to learn? And he's like totally fine with teaching this asshole like the same thing. Hi, Fleshy. You hopefully you didn't miss that. There's this element of joyful play in that, and I love it. I love it. That's like, take that movie more seriously than you do, please. That and Last Dragon, it's a comedy, but take it seriously. And that, like, it's the opposite of what I usually say. Don't take it. Take that one seriously because the comedy's already there in your face.
You should always take the things that are very serious, very irreverently, and have fun with them, and look for the seriousness in the humor.
I mean, we've played Cards Against Humanity, and when those glass of juice cards come up, I notice you never hesitate to play them, and I always laugh at them too, and we don't like that stuff, but we laugh at it then, don't we?
I mean, sometimes you have to laugh
For
at
YouTube
it to avoid
purposes,
crying
no, that's
about
horrible, and I would never do that.
Please, Susan Wojcicki, don't kill my channel. Yeah. We're not talking about Hatsumi, are we? Masaaki Hatsumi. Oh my God, I don't know whether he is the most. I don't know. I want to say anything to insult people, but I'm not a giant fan of the cult of Booge. We'll put it that way. Though I do appreciate the historical context when they're occasionally used, and I do have to give credit where credit is due. Without them, we wouldn't have anything resembling an interesting ninjutsu current in the West. But yeah, I don't consider them. I'm not saying that the martial arts that they show are made up. I'm not saying that at all. Not at all. In fact, if you study what they show, the demonstrations that they give are exactly what I would expect from a samurai art in armor. Like when I see Matsugi Hatsumi showing defense against the knife, the way he moves is how you'd move in armor. It's not how you'd move naked, right? It's how you'd move if you were in armor and you were allowing yourself the risk of getting touched, because you know your armor will protect you from the incidental touches. So you can actually take the risk that you couldn't take naked, giving you the advantage that it gives you to do what he does. You wouldn't do that unless you're wearing armor, is what I'm saying. As someone who likes to study martial arts from east to west, I know armored styles. Kind of like when you look at longsword fencing, you can tell when the technique is meant to be done in armor versus not. Partially because it's usually half-sworded if it's in armor. That's one way you know. But you do things that are totally different. You move a different way, and you take certain risks you wouldn't take in armor versus out of armor. Not like you throw caution to the wind, but you know that you don't have to worry if you grab, you can grapple a knife in a different way when you're in armor than when you're not. Now, why is that important? Because it's shown in the taijutsu and all that kind of stuff. It's shown as a what I call a naked art, meaning you're not wearing armor. It's shown in that capacity, like it's some dude wearing a ninja shinobi, whatever the word is, right? It's shown in that the black pajamas way, and that's not what they're doing, clearly. And so I don't know. I have a little bit of I've had run-ins with Booj, and there's a lot of really kind, pleasant people that study that, and then there's a cult in it that is psycho. I mean, like deadly psycho. Like they will dox you, and they will have your family made fun of, and they will. I've seen them do it to people. Like if you talk about ninjutsu and they don't like what you're saying, they will find something. They'll be like, "Oh, you're a pedophile. Oh, you're this." They'll come after you. I've seen them do it to people who were otherwise harmless.
Like Scientology.
Crazy shit. Yes, it's so. Again, like I'm more of a fan of Stephen Hayes, even though I think that a lot of what he does is similarly. If I say flaky, that comes out really harsh. I don't mean it flaky. I respect Stephen Hayes a lot for certain ways, but even he knew when he was there that what he was doing wasn't what they said it was. Is all I'm gonna say. There's a reason he left. I think, you have Takamatsu and that lineage, and then you have the ex-cons and all of them, and that's a totally different story. And some of them I respect more. Actually, I actually was a friend with a guy whose teacher was what was the other guy's name? The guy who, like, they feuded with, like, Hatsumi and him feuded, and they split off, and that's the ex-con. What's Genbukan versus Bujinkan? I think is the Genbukan. Anyway, I knew a guy who was like a direct student of his, much more rational, far less psycho, still psycho, but far less psycho. How did this become a conversation about ninjas, Raul? Damn it, Raul.
Hey, I want to bring up real quick. We do have, I don't know how late you want to go, but I do have somebody else lined up who says that they want to bring back up Stoicism and getting into non-dualism with it, if you want to bring them on.
Can we have this conversation in 10 minutes or so?
Ooh, I don't know. That's something.
Bring them on, whatever. If I fall asleep, I'll fall asleep.
Okay, fair. I am going to message them, and I'll have them on in just a minute.
Okay. Yes, Raul, he did guard the Dalai Lama, and he actually, what I like about him is the thing he gets right more than anything is it's not the martial arts techniques. To me, that's like, I'm a fan, maybe not personally of Anthony Cummins, but of his work. I'm a big fan of his work. I'm not, like, personally, I like him, but, like, whenever I've interacted with him, it always felt a little, maybe it's because he's gotten a lot of enemies, and it's kind of gotten ugly for him. And so I don't know. When I first talked to him long ago, I had a better relationship with him, and I talked to him since, and he kind of, like, was a little different. But what I like about Stephen K. Hayes in particular is that he understood the mentalism of the issue and how it's not about the techniques of the fighting, it's the strategy, right? it's about the strategy that goes with it. So like when they did that episode of this one show where he showed how a ninja would infiltrate and kill somebody, and he posed as this guy cleaning the cameras, totally breaking the rules in a way. There was nothing
Hello?
against the rules what he did, but he totally
Hello?
like, what's that?
Oh, we have a please introduce our guest. Actually, what do you want to? How do you want the people to know you? What's your name?
Just Aaron's fine.
Hello there, Aaron. The great and powerful, I am sure. Oh, looks like you're
Hold on,
doing something.
I'm just
DH.
trying to make sure. I'm just checking to see if Aaron has video or not.
Oh no, they're just voice right now.
Okay. What is up?
Nothing much.
Yeah, you. I think you're speaking DH's language because you said you wanted to get back into Stoicism and how it exploring that topic to dive into non-dualism.
Yeah. I am by no means an expert in Stoicism. Actually, I researched it because initially I thought it was full of shit, to be honest. Literally, I thought Stoics were like, what's that quote from The Witcher? You're not speaking wisdom, you're speaking bullshit, but with wise and profound faces.
I feel called out.
So I thought was
So
that,
kind of like I did the other day with my short YouTube video where I was talking about it wasn't bullshit, but I did the wise and profound face because it gets better clicks, I think. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
So yeah, I threw the shit at the wall to see if it would splatter, and some of it actually stuck. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
What I know of Stoicism is, according to a Stoic way of thinking, you are not your thoughts. You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond to what happens to you.
Mm.
And a lot of what...
So it's like almost where I go with you're not your thoughts, you're the spaces in between, but they talk about the reflection. Keep going.
Yeah, and so their whole view is, well, if you are your responses, you can curate that. You can play with that a little bit to be how you want. And where the Stoics go with it is they view anything that pulls you out of that sort of Zen state as torturous itself, even if you don't see it that way.
Like even pleasure.
Yeah, you could be in the height of an orgasm. They'll be like, oh, well, I mean, you're enjoying it, but you're going to hate yourself when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think some of that is I don't like to talk about a whole philosophy, especially when I don't know it. But some of that is kind of like so my interpretation of Vamchara is the idea that you do the sinful thing so it no longer has attachment, like you're no longer controlled by it. So it's not that the point of the left-hand path is not to just do sin. It's the point is to not be attached to sin by not seeing it as a taboo anymore and being able to safely experiment with these things until you realize it's not. So it's kind of like a kid who's been deprived of candy their whole life, when let loose in a candy store, is going to eat themselves sick. Whereas a person who is introduced to candy responsibly can enjoy candy without killing themselves. And that's kind of the pragmatic side of Vamchara, but the ultimate side is to not be attached to the candy at all. It's to be able to literally be sitting there with something that turns you on more than anything and be turned on but be unmoved by the turning on. Like a Stoic would be. Like a Stoic I don't think would deny the pleasure of the orgasm. They would deny the control the pleasure of the orgasm would have on their behavior or actions. Like if a Stoic, and this is my understanding, it could be wrong, if a Stoic is having an orgasm, they're not going to deny themselves the pleasure of it. And if they cry out in ecstasy, it's not because they are unable to do otherwise. It is rather it is by will alone, the juice of Safu, a Dune reference, it gives me speed. It's by will alone that I do this thing. And it's kind of speaks to the left brain filter. Like the Stoics are maybe more left brain than I like. Maybe that would be a criticism of mine. if I'm understanding what it is, and I might not be. So I don't want to dismiss a thing I don't know.
Like one of their
To be fair.
things, and it was put to me this way in a couple different YouTube videos I watched, is they're all about that thing. How do you cheat the devil? By making hell just seem like Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How you normally define pain and displeasure is entirely rooted in, you putting value into what is displeasing you.
Yeah.
Once you take away that value, it is not, it's no worse than anything else you could be doing.
Yeah.
But that at the same time, we don't want to go too far in that direction, not to be contrarian, though it kind of feels like I'm being contrarian. We don't want to make it so that hell is just next Tuesday, because that is still attachment to avoiding the suffering of hell. The thing is to make it so that even the way I'm trying to say it doesn't sound right. But if you're saying I just want to make it like next Tuesday, you're still trying to avoid hell. You need to be able to embrace the agony of hell and not be moved by it at all.
But it won't move you any more than next Tuesday. That's what they're getting at. You could.
That's fair, right?
Agony.
That's a fair way to say it. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
It doesn't move you any more than next Tuesday, even though there could be wasps crawling out of your nose or whatever the hell Christians want to push nowadays.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I mean, that's why I say I think Stoicism is compatible with Zen, and it's like a Western. I wouldn't say it's Zen, but it's a Western. It's like a lot of the external behaviors of a Zen type person in a Western philosophy. I could be wrong. I'd have to I'm sure somebody would have a better opinion on that. That's just from where I'm sitting right now. That's what it says.
To relate back to way earlier in your video. Stoics were around the same time as what was it, Homer, I think?
Well, yeah, because they were
ancient Greek, they were hitting strong, good things, and then it went to shit.
And those same Greeks were interacting with. Remember, they were all interacting with the Buddhists at the temples, and in the Library of Alexandria and all these places. They were all having. The cultural diffusion was going buck wild back during that period. It took a little while because people were walking and traveling by boat and camel and donkey and shit. But it was like the equivalent of today's internet, but slow back then. Because there was a period where there was a lot of cultural exchange. And that, to my mind, the idea of saying that Zen and Greek philosophy developed separately in their own vacuum is absurd. I think that they really cross-pollinated each other. And what we see today, the Greek path died. It was cut off by the Christian shit mostly. And what little bit was carried forward went through the paradigm of Christian theology. What little remained, I should say. But there's still plenty there. It's just you gotta kind of extract it out. This is why it's kind of dead and people don't get it. I'm not even saying I get it, but I think that's one of the reasons we don't get it the way it was meant, was because it did die. Whereas Zen, although one can say Zen and Buddhism and Jainism and Vedanta and Taoism and all those, of course they evolved and lived and died. They're not the same as they always were, but they're still alive as traditions go. They're still alive as philosophies go, and people still question and think about them in a mostly intact way. I mean, barring certain things, it's still mostly intact. That's not to say that there aren't dogmatic mistakes. There are people who translate the ancient Pali, and they say that in ancient Buddhism, the idea of there is no soul is a mistranslation, and the Mahayana Buddhists are wrong in that translation. That Anatman is incorrect. It doesn't mean that there is no soul. It is actually a statement saying that this is not the soul. It's not saying there is no soul. It is saying that the thing you think it is not it. Now that is neither here nor there. It is, but there is still, again, you can more clearly get the Zen version. This is why I think people, especially in the West, are turned on by that stuff, especially in the 60s and 70s, is because it answered, it's like there was a vacuum of this stuff. And people intuitively heard this and said, this sounds familiar. It sounds like something I've heard my whole life, but it makes better sense this way. And I think people, and plus it was alien and different and new, and so people got turned on to it. So yeah, so we're going to be ending now. Is there anything else?
Yeah, now I got to process what you just said a second. Hold on.
Shit.
Well, I was going to point out that
Welcome to hanging out with him.
Stoicism, the big thing with Stoicism classically was that whether good things or bad things happen to us, we should receive them with equanimity because they are the will of the gods. That's what matters.
Okay.
And so whether we win or lose this battle as Spartans is already determined by the fates. And we will do our duty and take joy in doing our duty.
It's literally being happy to be a cog in a machine, which sounds anti-Luciferian in a way, because the Luciferian says, fuck you, right? Luciferian always says, fuck you, I'm not a cog in a machine.
But according to non-dualism, you are the machine. So
you are the whole machine, including the cog, exactly.
But, you know, as it's gone along, it's been reinterpreted, yes, to be much more less fatalistic and more, well, not really Zen, but definitely like a lot of popular conceptions of Zen, which is that there is no, it's not about what is simply what is. And you can't argue with what is. It's illusion, it's bullshit. It doesn't really matter. You know, what happens in here is not dependent, should not be dependent or contingent upon what happens out there. I can find joy in anything.
That's still, I think that maybe that's the four-year version, the threshold version, because the ultimate version is, yes, it's bullshit, but it's deadly serious bullshit at the same time. I mean, it's like saying the spirits aren't real, but we still talk to them anyway. Just like you're not real and I still talk to you anyway. It's so to say it's bullshit and it doesn't matter, while true in that one ontological sense. Also, that is often said, though, not because it's true, but because there is a shadow saying, I don't want to give any more power to this than I already do because I'm suffering from it. So I want to diminish it by saying it's bullshit and it doesn't matter. So therefore I can look past. It's basically saying, like I said earlier, when Aaron said the thing about next Tuesday and we had to have a correction on it, but what I said was valid based on that. And what he said made sense, was that if you're trying to make it just next Tuesday, you're not really free of it still, because you're trying to diminish it into next Tuesday. The key is to, not saying the key, but I mean the truth is, it must always be agony or pleasure of extreme level, but not cause you suffering. So there is this, people will say like, oh, the Buddha didn't suffer when he died. You're absolutely right, he didn't suffer, but he was in absolute fucking agony the whole time he died. He died from severe stomach illness because he ate pork, which is something you're not supposed to do, by the way, in their religion. And so he ate pork and he got sick and he died from an agonizing stomach illness. And the whole time he was in absolute agony, but he wasn't suffering. That sounds like a Stoic to me.
Yeah, well,
basically the same thing.
And to bring it around to absurdism, the idea there is that sort of the next level up is everything that happens out there is bullshit. Everything that happens in here is bullshit too. Everything is bullshit. And we're not, and your reaction to that can be one of three things. You can kill yourself and basically just say, well, if everything's bullshit, I'm bullshit too. And unalive yourself.
And that's why I don't argue against deletion, because that's your right. That's like, if I think that's wrong, I'm treating that like it's more than bullshit, aren't I?
That's the nihilistic response. There's the existentialist response, which is essentially you stick your fingers in your ear and go la 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 la. And I say, I don't care that it's bullshit. I'm going to make it mean something. And then there's the absurdist position, which is sort of the middle path of, I'm going to act as if I can make it mean something, but at the end of the day, I know it still means nothing. It's still bullshit.
It's masturbation with absolute abandon and absolute, it's like, I know it's not a real girl, but I'm going to fuck the shit out of this hand like it is. I am going to be the Mac tonight.
Gnosis.
Like
Put it in the gnosis.
Yeah, you get both.
Put it in
you
the
get
gnosis.
both the wank and the post-nut clarity at the same time.
Yeah. Enjoy both. Yeah, man. Yeah.
What is
So you've been on this channel before, haven't you, Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then 2020 happened, and I had my head up my ass.
I appreciate that, man. I will consider talking to you again, because we all got our head up our ass. It wasn't just you. I fell into while I still agree that the place your head went was offensive, the place where my head went was ignorant, in the sense that the side I was on, I don't know if I trust at all. So nobody's the good guy and nobody's the bad guy. We all got played, my friend, is what I'm going to say. We all got played.
It's all bullshit.
That's what I'm going to say. We all got played.
Of course,
So even me.
our asses. That's where the magic is.
That's where the magic is. So I appreciate that, Aaron. I will re-engage you on Facebook, etc.
I just want to give a sincere apology, because looking back, it's like, have you ever thought, like, I know how I normally am, and I must have, like, swigged some magic ooze or some shit, and that's where my head was that day.
We all felt an existential crisis, and you saw your tribe and I saw my tribe, and that's what happened. And our tribes are never wrong when we're in them. And I no longer have a tribe. My tribe is, I'm going to survive this no matter what the fuck they do. I still feel like I voted the right way, but I still feel it was a stolen thing. And I still feel like we can't generalize everybody who thinks that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't generalize you as evil for thinking a different way.
Yeah, I don't see it that way. Especially in American politics, where the other guy is the sheeple. I am not.
Yes, always, and we never see the fucking wool on our own back. Absolutely true, absolutely true. I appreciate that. I mean, look at me and Eddie. Like, Eddie and I and Jen and some, we came on different sides in that issue, but for different reasons. I think Eddie and I agree about parts of things that are way more transcendent than the thing that we differed on. That is to say, it's like we both know that the engine's broken, and we know why it's broken, and we know we just have, like, I want to change the oil and he wants to change the filter, and it became an issue. I still think I'm right. He still thinks he's right.
Same.
But we still want freedom.
Same.
We still want prosperity.
Different ideas of the path.
Yeah.
We're all in camp. Fuck all y'all. It's just which side has the bigger middle finger.
Yeah.
Yes. The absurdist middle finger of, what? Fuck it. If we can't win, I want it all to burn. Like I said, my only problem with COVID is that it didn't kill enough people. Did I just say that? Please, Susan Wojcicki, don't kill my channel. Please.
Well, we can't
that's satire, guys.
We need another plague anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I still say it.
Yeah.
So, my money's on armed conflict next, but who knows? There might be a really good earthquake in the next couple of months.
It's all fake, dude. The gas thing is it's engineered. It's another false flag. You know how I know? Because it's inconsequential, really, but we're going to act like it's a prelude to war. And that's how you know. It's either a prelude to war or some big thing. So I don't think it's organic at all. I think it's totally, I don't even think it's an accident. I think it's totally.
What I say to that is, whatever happened to the toilet paper wars then?
Dude, I love the toilet paper wars. I won that one. You saw my stack of toilet paper. That was fantastic. I won that one. I never, my asshole was perfectly clean the entire time. I don't know about you guys, but I had a wickedly clean asshole that entire time. I wiped my ass twice for every one that everyone else was. I swear.
2020 made me use a bidet, so I'm all clean too. And I circulated the issue.
See, that's the Luciferian path. That's the left-hand path of cleaning your ass.
That's the French way.
Everybody else is killing each other and stabbing each other over toilet paper. You buy a bidet.
Well, I mean, I have to tell you, I am of the hybrid bidet variety. I always use water on the paper, and that's because I don't believe in a piece of paper. Look, That piece of paper ain't getting it all by itself. I'm just sorry. It's
Well-
not. I don't care how.
Well,
it's
I
just not.
mean, think about it this way: if you got a piece of dog shit on your arm, you're not just gonna wipe it off with a paper towel and go, "Oh, I'm good now."
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not saying that I want to. All right, Susan Wojcicki, please close your ears. I'm not saying I want to lick my nethers after I have properly cleansed them. But if I have to choose between one that has just been wiped and one that has been properly cleansed with at least some water and some stuff, I'm going to choose the last one, not the first one.
Oh,
I'm
the
not gonna
only reason humans don't is because we can't reach. We all know that.
I mean,
That's why
I've
you get
seen some
somebody else
porn
to
where
do it
dudes
for
could
you.
reach part of it, but yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. What is this?
Drago
Wade
says,
some will
I
take it a step further, DH, and install a bidet. Yes, very true.
Drago says,
Wet
I will
wipes
sleep
early.
better tonight knowing your ass is clean and happy.
Yes. Thank you, Drago. And I have you guys to thank for it because you guys have been so supportive of my channel and my work that I could afford toilet paper. You know, I'm not rich, but I certainly did better. Look, I did better in 2020 than I have any excuse of doing. It's actually 2021 that I'm seeing like a downturn. So ironically, but I think that's going to be true for a lot of people. So yeah. Werewolf Alien War coming 2025. You're not kidding, Anton. That's probably exactly what's going to happen.
My
Why do you
money's
think they're
on-
all getting cozy with talking about aliens now? Like Pentagon's like, oh yeah, we know about aliens, sure.
My money's on. They just found some cheese in an Egyptian tomb, and my
this gonna
money
be like
is
drink
on,
the red
my
water?
money is on cheese zombies, ancient Egyptian cheese
I was gonna say-
zombies.
Which is like-
Imhotep.
The Gouda mummy.
Well, remember the petition to let us drink the red juice, the mummy
yes,
juice. Remember
the
that?
red
one?
Super
mummy
coffee
nectar.
juice.
It's like we don't need this. What was the meme when 2020 started where they're like, we're opening the tomb to, and like the first comment was like, no, not this year. You do not. We don't need it right now. No curses this year. No.
Hey, you gotta go
All
hard
I
though.
gotta say is, if you can survive drinking that mummy juice, you can survive anything. You will be fucking Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since it turns out it was just raw sewage that leaked into the tomb.
Oh man. Oh.
Hey,
Oh.
Man,
it's just-
that's the most absurdist thing ever. This weird juice from this ancient mummy. It's just shit.
it's
It's just shit.
basically
Well,
just like
didn't that
drinking
happen?
a Fanta.
Yeah, but that literally happened to one of those in South America. There was one of those bleeding, crying Jesuses, and it turned out
It was
It turned out to be a
condensation from
leak.
toilet on the other side. I saw that one.
Yeah.
yes, and everyone they're kissing it and drinking it and licking it because it's the tears of Christ, and it's literally shit water.
Well, it's
Oh my God.
condensation, so it's not actually from the shit part of the
I
toilet.
thought that- I could swear it was a leak too, though. No, it was just condensation. Oh, maybe I got that story wrong.
I choose to
Still.
believe it was a leak.
It's
Because that-
yeah, I-
funnier this
Still,
way.
people are being miraculously healed by the outside drippings of a toilet.
Yep.
You can.
However,
Chaos magic in
I
a
gotta
nutshell
be-
right there.
I have to be fair though, because if the same thing happened to me, aren't I the one who says, yes, it was just a rat that caused the bump in the wall when I asked for the sign, but it still happened. So I'm going to say, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe it was just condensation from the toilet, and maybe it was just psychosomatic healing, but it still happened. It still has meaning. So let's not, while we're shitting on it with irreverence, let's also go, yeah, but that's still kind of like, let's not be too hypocritical.
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm laughing because of the absurdity of it, but I don't deny that it worked.
That.
I laugh
That's
at
why we're
myself
all
at the dumb
friends.
shit I do. Fuck yes, I'm gonna
That
laugh
is
at
a
others.
perfect
Yeah.
parable for
That's the
reality
cool-
right there.
Yeah, if I had to
Mhm.
define absurdism, in one sentence. It's learning how to laugh at yourself, realizing you're the universe too.
I like that one. It reminds me of that meme of the guy who's got ramen all over himself and like, you've seen that one? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you were the universe.
The universe.
Like-
Yes.
I have it somewhere.
Hold
I
on,
don't think I can find
I'm
it
gonna
on.
pull it up because everybody needs to see that if they haven't before this stream ends.
Are you awake, sweetie? Oh, honey, am I keeping you awake? Okay. My wife has work in 5 hours,
Oh.
and she's not sleeping good lately. So I should try to let her. I don't think it's me, she says, but she might say that just because she's sweet.
Yeah,
might
she
be
is.
burning the house down too.
She could be like pouring gas on the house. Yeah, I'm like, oh, fuck you. Yeah,
Gas
I
from
can't
garbage
sleep, honey. It's
bags.
not your
There's a meme going around
Did
now.
you find it, Fleshy?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Man,
If not, I'll
that's
go
a
look
sign
for
of a keeper wife, though. They go, "It's not you, you fucker."
it. That's a sign of a wife you've had a good long time. It's great.
All right, here we
I'll
are.
kill you when you sleep. Okay, there it is. Yes, make it big. I'm gonna make you
Yes,
big.
Daddy.
Whoa. I got to bring you to the front. Why are you not in the front? Ah, stop moving things around, stupid.
I'm not sure I want my face here.
Right? To the top.
People need
Close
to
enough.
know.
Right? I mean, I think that's what you're going for, Aaron, right?
There's the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Right?
He says with
I think that's what you're going for.
hesitation.
yeah.
I mean, it's not what you're saying, but it's kind of what you're going for right there. I mean, that's kind of it.
No, the quintessential what I'm going for is if he was gladly eating the stuff that's on his head right now.
Okay.
Because we are the
probably
universe.
is in the
We
next
are
frame.
we are that old phrase. What is it? What has Shakespeare said? All the world is a stage. We're all but simply players. Well, we're both the actors and the audience. It's just a matter of playing what we like.
In the porno
Yeah.
of life, we're all getting fucked. Might as well enjoy it.
Fuck. Eddie is like perfect for the good send-offs. It's like half the time on my channel, I want to cut it off early because he just says something profound. It's like, okay, we're stopping there. Can't top it.
Well, the Zen version of that is there is fucking, but no one to be fucked.
I don't like that as much.
That's profound. I'm gonna have to sit with that for a while.
Well, it goes back to the statement of there is enlightenment, but no one to be enlightened. There is anger, but no one to be angry. There is,
in private
It is.
meditation.
See, a Zen person would tell you there is no watcher. The watcher is an illusion. I'm saying the same thing, but they're saying it to the point of like absurdity. Like it is so unreal that why do you even bother caring about it? Like why do you even notice it? Yeah, I'm not quite Zen. Like that's the thing. Zen to me is very good, but I think my issue with Zen is I don't have an issue with Zen. I don't have an issue with Zen, but
That's
my
very
issue with
Zen.
Zen is is that I think that there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Zen has become a practice of sitting that glorifies the sitting and not the thing that it glorifies the sitting and not the awareness that observes the sitting. It's like it's actually become its own koan. And I think the true masters of Zen know this and they perpetuate it because it ensures that it still works. Because the more people just sit trying to find the answer, the more that they will struggle, and that struggle is how they find the answer. It's like a self-feeding fire, and it eventually is valid at the end of itself. It's kind of paradoxical. It's like it's like I said before with the occulted stuff. If you tell people that the watcher is this angel, go find it, and you spend your whole life trying to understand this watcher thing, and eventually maybe you'll land on the square that says, well, wait a minute, who's looking for that watcher? and you get that gasp of wait a minute, holy shit, what is that? And there you go. Maybe.
So
Maybe I'm reading it too
So
much.
then, with what you just said, wouldn't an improv actor be more Zen than a Zen Buddhist because all of his actions come before thinking?
If this means Eugene Levy is the Buddha, I'm in.
So
I would say a proper Zen person is an excellent improvisational actor. So maybe. I think that there's such a thing as too much like Zen too. If Zen is attempted on purpose, it's not good. Zen is not a thing that you can do on purpose.
It's meta bullshit.
Yeah, it's a lot of meta. It's a good meta. I'm not saying it's a bad meta, but I think that
No, I mean,
look, there's a reason why I'm not.
It's bullshit about bullshit.
There's a reason I'm not a Zen Buddhist or a Vedantist or a Neoplatonist or any of these things, but I talk about them endlessly because they've all got something that I like. They've all got something that I appreciate and practices and beliefs and ways of saying it. And they're all basically saying the same fundamental thing. Fundamental. Which is kind of funny if you think about it. Here we are, these human beings that have been around in the form we would recognize for 100,000 years, with a civilization we'd recognize for at least 10,000 years, if not longer, and we lost it and got it back, who knows? And all of this time, and we still can't agree on how to describe the thing we all see. It'd be like we're all looking at the sun and none of us can agree what it looks like, but we all see it clearly. And I think that's kind of funny. Like with all these other advancements that we have, the most obvious thing to me is the thing that we have the hardest time communicating. Because to me, it's really obvious. I mean, it took me my whole life to figure out how to say it, but it's really obvious. And that's not an ego statement like, look how smart I am. It's obvious to you too. It's just you haven't put the words around it so that you can see that you see it.
It's because you can't.
I guess is what
you can't teach it. You can't. You can only learn it. You can't teach it. You have to experience it.
And that's the part that I'm talking about. It's like look at all these advancements, but this we still. Now I will say with one caveat, I think there is a caveat to that, and I think that it's returning. And there's a video I put up on the Discord channel the other day about the nectar of the gods, the idea of the Greeks taking the literally dying and going through that. I forget what it was called exactly, but that thing that was lost and died out and no one knows what it was. Pretty sure psychedelics is the closest thing we can get to can you see it now? By itself, it's not enough. You still have to go through something so that you can relate to what you're seeing and understand what it means. But I think that might be, and I haven't done that yet. That's why I say I think. I don't know yet. And I fully intend to do one of those, like, what do they call it? The, not Mother Earth retreats, whatever they call it, that JD was talking about. Yeah, the ayahuasca retreats. So I'm going to do one of those kinds of things in the near future, hopefully within the next year or two, because I want to see how it stacks up to what I've experienced without it. And I want to see, like, in very much the Dune way, I am going to do it. I'm literally going to role play being Paul Muad'Dib taking the water of life. That's how I'm seeing it. Is the sleeper must awaken. Like that's going to be the like, I'll probably come back with white hair and be all,
oh God,
and become reverent instead of irreverent. I'll probably be all soft spoken. Like, no guys, no dudes, for real. I totally, like, I get it now.
Hey,
like, oh my God.
I'll
be like California.
And my state allows that. So you should come over here and we'll make a before and after video.
Like, I won't even need to go for like the $800 thing, is what you're saying. I could just come stay at your place for the weekend, and
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but come over and we'll see what happens.
Sign me up
with one of my medications and kill me, so I'll just eat a fistful of shrooms.
Well, I mean, what's the difference? I'm probably more inclined to want to do psilocybin. Should I be saying that on fucking YouTube? I don't know. I'm more inclined to want to play with that.
You're talking about one of the medical studies.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the medical studies.
Or one of the traditional practices of pre-Christian cultures. Wink, wink.
Well, it has been, the Supreme Court did rule in favor of it. If you look at the ayahuasca retreats, they won the right. They proved that it is, if it is a sacrament of your religion, they can't. What can they do?
That's where RIFRA came from. It wasn't about letting evangelicals do whatever the fuck they want with gay wedding cakes. It was about peyote and Native American tribes. That's why Bill Clinton.
And let's be clear: the law doesn't say you can't do it. It just says you can't buy and sell and transport and possess. So that's how they get away with it, is by saying, oh well, just like with gun. Oh, we're not saying you can't have a gun. We're just saying you can't sell it. And you can't possess it too. But that's how they get you. That's how they get you with a lot of this stuff. So I think that's going to go away because they have to make sure everybody is well medicated for the collapse of civilization they've got planned anyway. So they want people as docile as possible, and they see us as docile when we become enlightened. We no longer care as much about the game that they care about. So long as we don't get in the way, unless we act like full-on Gong and stand up to their regime in China, they'll let us get away. Just don't be like the Buddhists that have to go to Tibet. Just stay silent. They'll be fine with it. So just a little bit of narcissistic negativity there. But anyway,
I'm still gonna shit post because I don't give a crap about that either.
I mean, at least there's shit posting.
Us and
from a non-dualist
take an
perspective,
ayahuasca retreat
or shit posts.
Okay, I heard the Eddie thing. What was Fleshy saying?
I said it sounds like us and all of chat need to take an ayahuasca field trip.
Blade and Cloak just said that. He says we need an ayahuasca field trip.
I'm stealing his words.
All of us will go. Oh, okay, good. All right, good. Yeah, I feel like it. I definitely feel like it. The thing is, like, I don't look forward to the pant shitting and the puke barfing. Yeah, I don't look forward to the purge. I really don't. So we'll see. I don't know.
Hey, fuck it, man.
Maybe I'm more of a DMT 10-minute guy than a all-day pukeathon.
It's like, have you ever had cannabis and then just like puked your fucking guts out, and the moment of zen that washes over you when all of that is done is almost like everything was worth it? Because, well, I have, and then I told a buddy of mine that, and he's like, "You were fucking wrong, and I hate you for that." But for me, it was great, and that's what matters.
I have a love-hate with that thing, because it's like the first half of it is fantastic, but then I get like these heart-thumping anxiety attacks.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I might overdo it. Maybe that's the problem, because I am such a heavyweight with alcohol, and I've heard that when you're a heavyweight with alcohol, you're not with the other. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I am definitely heavyweight with alcohol, and I can pound. Well, maybe not now that I've lost 80 pounds, but I could pound a ton of liquor. Now I'm pretty sure I couldn't. I don't know, but I do the same thing with the other stuff. Let's not forget I'm 44, and when I was a kid and did that stuff, like, one J, thank you Behemoth X, was like a whole J was like one puff off a current J. So I don't know. Like one puff now is like a whole J from the old days. So I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Pass the Buddha on the left-hand side.
Well, I'm going to be using the Lord of the Rings long stem pipe. That's my plan. I'm not going to be.
But you got to get the staff that it fits into first.
Yes.
Oh, that would be cool. Actually, I've always wanted a staff flute. I've always wanted a flute that was the length of a staff, so I could walk around with it and then do the whole Kwai Chan, not quite, but you know what I'm saying, the whole circle of iron flute thing. Oh yeah, totally. Well, anyway, guys, I think what do we got? 5 people watching now. So let's do a thank you for watching Buy Our Crap segment. The time is coming when you will want to buy something from me, and I will be there to give you that thing. But until that happens, please visit the link below in the link tree. You will see links to a lot of things, including my books. Every Monday I now have a class that I hold. It's a live class. I'm probably going to be changing the time slot it's in. So if you don't love the time, I'm probably going to be putting it to evenings soon, because the attendance is dwindling, but the subscription is going up. So a lot of people want to watch it, but I think a lot of people are working, because it is during working hours here on the American time zones.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. I'm going to be putting them probably in the evening soon. That's actually a really good service. I'm not afraid to push it, because I think it's super value filled. It's $20 a month unless I need a vacation, it's every week on Monday from 3 to 5. Actually, it's really 1 to 1.5 hours lately, because I've been toning it back a little bit. But for about 1 to 2 hours, I hold a live class where we do meditation, ritual conversation. We're actually going to be doing some ritual at some point. We're working up to that a little bit. We're talking about energy manipulation. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. And it's not just a lecture. It's participatory. It's literally the closest thing to a class I could do. The structure is sometimes good, sometimes I structure it based on my books, sometimes it's just whatever it feels like. But it's not like just sitting here and me ranting. I'm actually way more rational and way more calm. And it is a lecture, mind you. It is a classroom, but it's a lot of participation, and it's very much, what's the word I'm looking for?
Reciprocal.
No, that
Interactive.
too, but no, it's less like a lecture and just a lecture. It's more like hands-on, this is how it works type of stuff. So as much as possible through the internet anyway.
Boots
There's
on the
things I
ground.
can't do. Yeah, there's things I
think
can do
the
in
new
person I
age
can't
lingo
do.
for that would be an integrated classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
We'll call it that. We'll call it that until we know better. So it's an integrated classroom, and it does well. It's $20 a month, and if you can't make the class, it is actually recorded. So
Yeah.
basically, for $20 a month, you're getting a video training course that you could watch at your leisure. And there's over, I have to go and look, but there's over something like 25 hours worth so far to watch. So if you've got the stomach to watch that much of me, I don't know who does, but apparently somebody does because they're paying for it. I know I can't.
Yeah, and
but
even if you sign up right now, you get access to all the backlog. And I'll actually even talk you up too, is that I've been there for one of them because my schedule normally doesn't permit me to be there. But fucking everybody, the time I was there and just seeing that Inner Sanctum channel and everything, it's always nothing but good things to say. So you're doing something right.
I don't know. I think you tell people they need something enough and they'll pay for it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's I enjoy it. I mean, I will say the well will run dry at some point where I'm going to be like, I'm just repeating myself. I'll need a break. But I enjoy it, and I'm going to be. We're definitely doing some cool stuff coming up, especially with the blood moon, the new moon, the lunar eclipse coming up next week or the week after, whatever it is, the 25th, I think, 26th. So we're planning ritual and stuff for that. Everybody is going to be writing up a ritual that they're going to be doing. We're going to be discussing. We're going to be critiquing in a positive way what to be done, and then they're going to potentially record it, or however they want to do it. If they want to share it with the group, they're going to do that. And then we're going to go through it, and we're going to see how we're doing.
Yeah, 14
14
classes. If that's an hour a piece, then it's 14 hours of backlog.
They're actually between 1 and 2, and some of them go 2.5, 3. So the first 8 or 9 were at least 2 hours. So we're definitely about 20 hours just to that point, and then another 5 or 6 after that, I'd guesstimate. What I'm going to be doing at some point right now, the way I have it structured is maybe not perfect. I want to make it so that there's a searchable library for it, and I'm probably going to have to use Vimeo for that at some point, and that's a little bit more of egg-headed fuckery that I got to worry about on top of what I already worry about. So at some point I'll do that, and I might even use those videos and chop them up and turn them into actual paid stuff on Amazon that you could buy, instructional classes. We'll see. But they're not structured enough for that. I'd have to really chop them up. I might as well just reshoot them. So I don't know. Anyway, guys, it's a good value. I'm proud of it. It's actually, I like it better than the mentorship program I was doing, because the mentorship program was actually more like magical psychiatry life coaching stuff, and it got draining to do every day. 2 or 3 times a day. Like if I'm working with somebody for an hour or 2 and we're doing that 3 or 4 times a week, and I've got 10 people doing that, and blah, blah, blah. It just got to me. It just was like, I didn't have time to create anything because I was already using it all up, talking about it with people. So, I had to put a little bit of a dam in the way of that waterfall. It just got to be too much. But this is a little bit more mellow. We'll say a little bit more. It's like I'm doing an extra stream a week, but it's a little bit more focused. So, yeah.
On the topic of who would want to listen to me speak for that much, Wyatt Coverdale says D.H. Thorne is like ASMR if it were intended to give you an existential crisis.
Oh fuck, dude, that is that. Put that in the book of happy. That's my head can only get so big. Please, I can only get so erect.
All right, existential ASMR sounds like something you could probably legit do and people will watch.
I think people would pay money for that. Yeah, I mean, Fleshy, I need your help on that though, because I don't know if you'd have to like show me like the right audio setup to do, and like how to say it.
Your fucking khakis. You are the watcher behind the eye. You are the eye peering in.
You are not having an awareness in here.
Buy more.
In here is an awareness.
Ovaltine.
Yeah, buy my books. Yeah, buy Oval Demon. King Paimon. King Pai.
I'm feeling the tingling. Am I enlightened now?
You're definitely engorged. You're engorged. It's very close to light. So, anyway, guys.
And
on
I'm
that
crying
note,
again.
I love you all, and I hate you all in equal measure. You are what I loathe, because you are not real, and what you are is not real, and what I am not real. So I hate myself equally, and that means I love you all.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for watching.
All you
Flesh Priest,
evil
Eddie,
bastards, bitches, and non-binary witches.
Flesh Priest, Eddie, Aaron, thank you. Thank you to all our guests and friends. Even thank you to Poke Runyon, who I guess was more annoyed than he let on. Maybe he'll be back and be all mad. It's going to be like, we're going to see one downvote on this one. I wonder who that's going to be. I'm kidding. I shouldn't pick on the guy. I really shouldn't.
I like something that Cracky said earlier. He's like, imagine if the actual Poke Runyon comes on and somebody links this to him. He just, what the fuck, guys?
I don't know if he would. I don't know. Does he strike you guys as being irreverent with us? Would he enjoy our irreverence, or would he be? I don't know. I like the guy though. I really do.
I have no clue who he is. So.
Just like him when I'm that age.
If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's. I'm not saying he's right about everything, but he's utterly brilliant. He brought a lot of the Goetic stuff up to modern practice very well.
And his Orson Welles voice doing the hypnotic induction is golden.
Yes, for sure. Like you can tell just for no other reason that he's a sorcerer, because his capability of just like that ASMR quality of his voice, and you feel like you're listening to Gandalf. Like it's just it's amazing. So yeah, much credit to him. And so, all right, guys. So signing off. Until next time, mind the shadows. Never take yourself more seriously than your enemies do, and tell your friends and warn your enemies.
Mind the shadows.